the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 million.
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Look no further than Alaska's #1 real estate team at alaskashometeam.com. Decades of local experience, knowledge, and expertise in the competitive real estate market. Alaska's Home Team makes buying or selling your home a breeze. Give them a call today at 907-277-3777.
Lady with the Plan, your own Alaska event planner. From scouting the perfect location to planning the tiniest details, specializing in event management and production for intimate social gatherings, retreats, birthdays, bridal, and baby showers. Find Lady with the Plan on Instagram.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They are the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include snow and ice management, weekly lawn care, and more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
So you're saying those work?
I'm saying they absolutely work.
That was funny you mentioned that. Like right when you came in, you're like, I got something to tell you guys.
Because it was hilarious.
So what happened?
We're at the moose camp that I have out by Toke.
Upper Huffman,
Yeah.
Out of Toke.
Toke's a pretty big area, so
I've hunted that place for like 5 different years. I've never seen caribou come through that area that I'm in. Down the road, the higher ridges, caribou. Mm-hmm. Never there. Didn't see any moose that morning. I was like, I'm going to try something. The guys from the podcast are always doing they call it caribou call. I was like, but it's probably for anything. So I was like,
and you're telling your crew. Yeah.
Well, I'm telling the one dude that came up here to hunt with me from South Carolina, a friend of mine.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm just going to try this. I was like, I know you probably don't want a beer this early in the morning, but like, I'm going to bust out the moose call. So I like went to the glassing area and was like, and then I was like, all right, let's just walk the trails for a couple hours while everything's not moving, and we'll shoot some ptarmigan with the bows.
Oh, fun.
So we're doing that, and I showed him this tree stand.
Is that like a blunt point like that you use? Yeah. So it doesn't really like pierce their skin?
It's like rubber.
Oh, okay. So just like pow, like it's like a blunt force trauma.
I mean, I think they have like specific ones for it. I've seen ones with like loops, like piano wire loops.
Do you have any video or film of you guys shooting a ptarmigan with a bow?
I have video on my phone of me shooting a ptarmigan with a
Put
broadhead.
it on. Let's see.
You're gonna have to. Yeah, you're gonna have to send
I'll
that
see
to
if
us.
it's still on my phone.
Airdrop it to me, and I'll put
see
it
if
on.
it's on my phone.
Okay, hold on, real quick. Keep going with your story. So you're walking trails. You're gonna shoot ptarmigan.
So
with
we
the
go,
bow.
yeah. And then I see we're down in the flat, and we're I was showing him another source for water. That's like pretty good water. Because the one river there is like a couple people I know have gotten giardia out of it. My buddy's like, I drank the water in Afghanistan. I'll drink anything here, no problem.
Don't worry about it.
He's like, I'm not worried about it. And he literally would. He'd just like throw his cup in there, drink
Nalgene
water.
and
I'm
just
like,
get it.
I know 2 dudes that literally a month ago got giardia. And he's like, won't happen to me. And he never got it.
Wow.
But we're walking through the woods and I see like some movement. And I thought like, oh, maybe that was wolves. So just kind of quiet for a minute, sat, and I saw a white butt, and I was like, oh, it's caribou. He's like, we have a caribou tag. I was like, yeah. I was like, but I've never seen caribou in this valley ever. He's like, huh. So we walked back to camp. About an hour later, he literally put coffee on, and I was like, well, I'm going to start glassing. So I started glassing, like, walk to the edge. I'm looking like,
Is this that like bluff that you have all the photos of? Because that shit looks
it's pretty
nasty. Oh my
It's
god,
an awesome spot.
this looks like a moose mecca.
Well, it was this
Is
year.
it this one right here?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's Wes's daughter calling from there.
Nice.
So I'm literally standing where I am right there.
Yeah.
Just threw my binoculars up and I'm looking way across the valley because that's where we were seeing moose. And
on the hills back there.
like 2 miles.
Yeah.
I hear this like grunt, snort, and I'm like, what the? Put my binoculars down. I look down and there's a caribou like 30 feet down the hill staring at me. And I was like, no shit. And then I look around and I'm like,
There's got to be more.
oh my
herd down
God,
there.
there's like 40 caribou bedded down on that hill.
Oh wow.
So I was like, put my binoculars down. I walk backwards and I'm like, Tris, there's 40 caribou 30 yards from
Just moose
the
country
hill.
too.
Just laying in the trees. I could barely see them. So I started glassing them and I was like, dude, there's a couple of big caribou in there. And so he's like, I was letting him hunt moose on that trip. So I was like, well, I'm going to get a caribou. Shot
It's my turn.
shot everything.
Looks like I'm up.
4 animals from my Yeti cooler on that hill.
Oh, that's badass.
All 4 gut piles within 40 yards of each other.
Wow.
Pretty much like from the tent to the edge, glass. There it is.
It'll never happen again. Ever.
Right?
And I told him, I was like, dude, don't go tell people like this is what hunting in Alaska is
Yeah,
like.
no, this
I
isn't
was
gonna
like,
happen again. No.
This is not what it's like. I've sat here many times and we pulled 1 moose out of here, not 3 and a caribou.
And you would say the old double shovel caribou call just must have been the
Yeah.
That was it.
Got a herd of 40
There it is,
just
guys.
laying-
You heard it.
It
here
doesn't
first.
call moose though. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it does. I mean, it is a caribou call for a reason because there's not technically a calling technique for caribou other than like waving a game bag or doing.
White garbage bag.
Yeah, and that's kind of like a visual indicator more than like a call, which is like a sound indicator.
I haven't spent much time with caribou.
Yeah,
Man,
but
they
I
make
mean,
some
I've heard
crazy
the whole
sounds.
like
I mean,
Oh,
we heard
white
like that
bag.
little baby caribou this August, like, but that was like a little baby, and I've never heard like a mature bull caribou make
Oh,
like a
man.
noise.
I one
that I
time I
can
was
remember.
hunting some off Unit 13 and I went down by myself down into this thing. I knew they were going to cross this valley and I went to the bottom of this little thing. I was like, they're going to come right here and there's going to be one right next to me.
So you got them really, really close.
Like this, like they're running like right by me and they didn't see me because it was really wooded at the bottom and they didn't want to come up top because there was other hunters up there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, they're going to come through there. They're going to cross. And they did cross.
So you got in the
and I
mix
was
with
just
them?
right in the mix, but it was like too close and too fast
Yeah.
to be able for me to shoot one, but it was so cool to just be right there and hear them talking to each other like you know how the sounds they make, dude, and it's really loud. And And they're really communicating.
The one on the hill that was staring at me initially snorted. It was like a deer, like white-tailed deer do that.
Oh, okay.
You know, I've heard that before.
Like a little like a.
Yeah,
like a
so
little,
I don't know if they like
grunty.
come into calls. Probably not. I've never heard of anyone calling caribou.
Yeah.
But they obviously make some sounds.
Yeah, it just sounds like a 24 pack in the hockey locker room being opened up at the same time.
Yeah, they don't stop moving though, ever. Like they hardly sit still.
Yeah. It was that
They're fun to observe, especially when there's like a big bull that you know is in charge, and watch how he leads them around.
directs the traffic.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So when you were glassing, I know that you said early in the morning you hit the call, you walked around for the ptarmigan, and then now you're like up on your perch. Was this like midday or like late morning?
Midday.
So it makes sense. They'd be
2
laying down.
p.m.
Oh yeah. Wow.
It was like 2 p.m.
Warm too. Pretty warm.
It was pretty warm this year.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, it was warm.
Yeah.
It was probably getting 55 during the day.
Sure.
Where we were.
Makes sense that they'd be just bedded.
I wonder why they're being pushed that way.
It was weird.
Yeah, such a moosey
I wonder if
looking
they'll be
area.
there again.
But I can tell you when
Probably
they
not.
and we watched them moving through there for that whole day and the next day,
Oh.
and we were hardly seeing moose move at all. And I think like the moose they didn't leave; they were there
Yeah.
because we
too
found
much
them
going on.
the next 2 days after the caribou pushed through. I think they just know that those caribou like pull wolves, like wolves follow caribou, and those moose like did not move. Like we wouldn't even see them.
Yeah.
They were bedded. They were
bedded
hunkered down. And
all day.
Yep.
For like 2 days.
That's a great theory, and you're probably right because.
Oh, I have no idea if I'm right, but I
Well,
know that
I mean, a wolf.
while
a
the
wolf's
caribou were
gonna-
there, they weren't moving. But I was like, I know they interact because, I mean, Eureka's got plenty of caribou and plenty of moose.
Well, sure. Well, caribou are like floating around in sheep country and floating around in moose country, and they're not a threat other than like maybe food source. I don't know if they eat the same thing. I don't think caribou eat the same thing as moose, but
I don't know.
that makes sense. Now you mentioned wolves, and you were kind of thinking maybe the movement you saw in the brush that morning. You guys were walking
Well,
around. Did you hear them howling it in the mornings and the evenings or something? Were they actual, or is there like a pack that you're used to hearing in the years past?
No, I heard them. I've seen in that area. I've had, well, in 1 year, all of it happened in 1 year. But we had cranes come in and land.
Glukers.
Which I don't know if you've ever experienced 100,000 cranes landing.
100,000?
Oh, it was
Deafening?
I had to put earplugs in to sleep. They didn't sleep. I don't know why they landed because they were so loud. I put earplugs in to sleep.
Oh, it's awful.
And they're down you can see from that photo, like, so panning right, looking off that hill, there's like a swampy area with
and
a
like
couple
like
lakes.
turns and
So they were there. Then we heard wolves one night, and those wolves ran those cranes out of there.
good.
But the last year that Wes was in there with Sarah, same camp, we had wolves like in that meadow in front of camp, like 10 chasing a cow and a calf around, and they didn't get her. And that was
It's fun to watch.
it was crazy because I was across the river, so like 2 miles out across the flat. Jeremy and I were walking back, and it was like midday walking back, and I could hear wolves, which was like midday was weird. Like lots of howling, and I was like, and Jeremy's he had a pretty bad ankle, so walking across all that like tussocks was a nightmare for him. So I'd get like a couple 100 yards ahead, and I'd just glass, and I was trying to pick those wolves up on the ridges. I finally found one wolf up on the ridges, and I was like, man, I think we're like getting persona non grata here. Like that dude's just up there telling us like, my area, get out.
Yeah.
So we got back to camp, and everyone that was in camp, Wes and his wife and some dudes I worked with at Hickle, they were all in the glass, and they were like, dude, you see all those wolves? And we're like, I saw the one up on the ridge. And they're like, no, right down there where you guys just came out of, there's like 10. And And Scott, who I worked with, was like, dude, you're allowed to shoot 10 a day. You don't even have to have a license, 10 a day. And I was like, I was kind of, at that point, we weren't seeing many moose. And I was like, we had the cranes the night before. I was like, all right, I'm shooting wolves.
Right.
I'm like,
well, I mean, you know, if you don't get them out of there, you're not going to see any moose.
Yeah,
right?
it's over.
So we went down. I tried to cut them off. I went down where that tree stand was. It's way up in a tree. It's like 30 feet up in a tree. It's high. It's not really a shooting tree. A tree stand. It's more like glassy. This whole other area. So I found that. I went up in that, and I sat there, and I could hear the wolves talking, and then they were like a couple miles away. They were like gone, and I could hear them going hysterical, like they must have took something down. So I was just sitting up there. This is the first time I'd ever climbed up in that tree stand. I was like, I'll sit here for a minute. It's kind of cool. Check this is a different view of this whole area. Then I see this black thing come to the edge, and I was like, oh, it's a black bear. And I couldn't really see it, and it would move to where it never would really let me see it. It wasn't far away, and then it finally made a decision that it had to go across this clearing, and I saw like its gate, and it was solid black, like black as coal, and I was like, oh shit, that's a wolf. I was like, the thing is huge, and I was like, I think they roll like the alpha is the last one. Yep. So I was like, I think that's, so then I was in my rifle, and I was just staring at him for like 10 minutes, and I think he could feel or smell that I was there, but he couldn't figure out where I was. He kept putting his nose up, and I had him in my crosshairs for like 15 minutes.
Oh, so you could have taken him.
Yeah, and I just was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I was like, I feel like it'd just be me shooting another hunter. Like, I'm like, no, I'm going to win. I'm going to get a moose tomorrow. So I just like let him walk off. I didn't shoot him. And then I got a moose the next day. A little 36-inch paddle bowl, but whatever, filled the freezer, and I was like, I won. Yeah. And then from then on, I was like,
get a moose the next day, probably.
No. You probably got one that night.
Yeah.
Well, there's such a mystique whenever you see a wolf like that, especially close in your crosshairs or doing something crazy. You're just in awe, and you just stare at them. It's like tough to even do anything other than look at them.
I mean, you know, like you guys, I've spent most of my life doing outdoor stuff in Alaska. If you live in Alaska and you love Alaska, you have to do outdoor stuff or you will not like this place. So I've done it my whole life. I've seen, that was the second time I've seen wolves in my entire life.
Yeah.
First time before that, this was 6 years ago. First time before that was high school. On a float trip. That's in high school, a high school sanctioned float trip. We floated all of the Moose River to the Kenai.
Yeah.
And I was so far out ahead of like everyone else in the class in the canoe that I was just like, we were just floating in it. The guy that was with me was like sleeping, and I was just like letting it like bang off the banks, and came around the corner, and there was like 3 wolves standing on the sandy beach. And I just like, we were like locked eyes, and I was like floating right at him. And I was like, man, like I got to get my paddle in the water. And I like didn't have my paddle. So like I was just staring. And I was like, I can't find my paddle. So I looked down at my paddle, and when I looked up, they were gone.
That's all it took to break that.
That's how they work. Like they can just like smoke bomb ninja gone.
Just like, pop smoke.
They were gone. And so I've just always thought they're like the coolest animal.
Yeah.
That day I was super mad at him, and I was ready to kill one until it came to it, and I couldn't do it. And I don't think I ever will be able to.
I took one this spring, and it was like a really weird, unusual circumstance because I wasn't hunting for a wolf. I was just playing with the new predator call. And the year before, in that area we were at with Peters, remember I was just using the manual little rabbit call, and we got the coyotes to call back, and we got some great a sound of that with video.
Well,
but,
the coyote came down, remember?
Yeah, the one kind of pranced across the little swamp there. That same exact spot. I sat in the same damn.
Saw a wolf?
Yeah.
Well, that's where you got the wolf.
I shot the wolf, but I wasn't like, it was weird because like, I was more or less just like playing with the call and wanted to see something. I had my rifle. So if you bring a rifle, your intent is to shoot something. Really, I wanted to take a black bear out of there.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I mean, if I see a black bear for sure, a coyote maybe, just wanted to just rip it and see if something came out. And sure as shit, dude, this wolf comes out of the tree line like 400 yards away. And at first it came out and I'm like, oh shit, coyote. So I'm glassing. I'm like, whoa, that's way bigger than a coyote. And so I get my scope. I had enough time to get my little spotting scope set up, and I'm looking and I'm like, what the hell's up with this thing? And it's like skinny and like
By itself?
100% by itself and gangly and like limping.
Oh, I would have probably shot that.
Okay, so exactly. So no, I mean, I was just kind of like, I'm watching this thing and he just comes right out in the middle. And I'm like, man, this isn't like normal wolf behavior. There's so much more like calculated and like making sure, like, I mean, the other wolf I've ever seen, like I see it for a split second, it's out. Like they don't hang around long.
Yeah.
Okay, they're smart
He
critters.
probably got pushed out of his pack.
It's exactly what I thought. And he was like torn up. Like, not necessarily did he have like any open wounds, but he just looked battered. He looked beat up. And
I think it's super hard for them to survive on their own. That's why I like them so much. I could shoot a coyote, no problem.
right.
I wouldn't even have to think twice
Not
about
hesitate.
it. But for whatever reason, now I'm like, and I mean, now I got like wolf tattoos and like, it's just kind of part of it now because of of that. And I just think like, I mean, there's just like a lot of cool lore with wolves.
Yeah.
And just the family structure and the loyalty and just like
the
there's
hierarchy
so much
of
about
like
them.
how they operate. I mean, they are kind of a wildlife bully to some degree, and that's just a personal opinion on that. You know, they are like kind of like very much responsible for like the heaviest part of predation and caribou and moose, and the particular area that I was hunting is like heavy predators, bears. I mean, the fucking moose probably don't stand a chance in there, man. There's like no way. You barely even see any tracks around there. You see why we've taken multiple brown bears out of there. I decided, I was like, well, this thing's like hurting. I'm just going to like take it and put it out of its misery. So I did. And I really like wanted this like big, like 6 foot, like, you know, the picture with the big giant wolf, and like it was not even close to any of that. It was a male, so I felt good about that. And but I feel like I'm gonna take an Alaskan, timber wolf, and it was like not the ideal big glorious one that I wanted. And now that I've taken one and then like packed him up and like skinned him, and of course I didn't take any meat. Admittedly, I didn't take any canine meat. Like it was.
You didn't try some jerky?
I didn't try nothing, and he was all sick anyway. And his hide was crappy, but he was like really healthy, like jaw and teeth. And I'm like, oh, cool, it'll be like a really cool Euro. And so I was like, I've never skinned a wolf, so like what other opportunity you ever gonna get?
Oh, like
so for the whole thing, it was like I was 100% solo. I was by myself. I was with Josh, but Josh was passed out, and I went on a little thing and
see Josh sleeping on the job, man.
Yeah, and well, we hadn't seen a lot of bears that trip, but anyway, I don't know. It was just like now I feel like I have unfinished business because I want to take a wolf, but then I'm also kind of like, man, if he was a big, giant, glorious alpha beast, and was like being calculated and being his normal self, it might have been a different feel, because I felt like I put a miserable, sickly animal who is dying and hurting out of its misery. So like, it made me feel good about that.
Yeah.
And then I rolled him up and put him in my pack, and I went back to camp, and Josh's like, man, it looks like somebody's dog in your backpack. And I was like, man, this is just not the experience that I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
Well.
But I think your whole story about it's cool, because you probably saw the alpha, and usually you think about the big alpha as this is big jet black, like demon wolf. Like
I just don't think that I'll ever do it. And I have zero qualms with anyone doing it. Like I understand why it's done. I understand why it needs to be done. I understand the biology behind it and all that. But I'm just not the guy who's gonna take
from one
out
hunter
any wolves.
respecting another. It's
I
like,
just feel like
not,
I have this connection with that animal now, and like,
yeah.
and I'm new to the predator thing too. I was kind of against it. You know, you and I have talked about that before, where I was kind of like, I wasn't really cool with the whole like baiting bears until I heard an explanation that I was like, oh, well, that actually makes a ton of sense. That baiting bears is probably better than like spot and stalk as far as for conservation and taking out the right bear, the older bears.
Being able to pick and choose.
So being able to do that
yeah.
because you have a stand. And also because like I was just like everyone else who is uneducated about it. And I was like, I don't know. Like, isn't it cheating? It seems kind of easy. Like
I feel like that.
The whole deer stand stuff. But then I put a thing on it about Instagram and I was like admitting like how I felt about it. And I was like, well, I carried in 1,000 pounds of dog food. I carried in like 400 pounds of donuts. And I carried in like 6 5-gallon buckets of fish fryer oil. Like,
that's got to be the scariest part.
It's only
when
like
you're walking in with all the shit.
2/3 of a mile.
Paintball, just walking
you're like
down
not
the
up on the
trail.
stand. You're down there, just a whole backpack full of donuts.
It was a lot of work. I was like, this is not like you take a bag of dog food in and some donuts and then you
there's definitely a lot of work to it.
And
I was
just,
like,
just
a lot
to
of
watch
patience.
bears, right? You pretty much did that to watch bears.
I didn't shoot anything.
That's what I'm saying.
I never got a
like,
shootable bear in there. I had it's all new to me, so from my understanding of what I did wrong, I had a lot of bait that attracts brown bears over black bears, which I wanted a black bear. I would have taken a big brown bear boar, and I had one come in there that was probably an 8-foot bear.
Wow, that's a monster.
But he literally, the first time he showed up on cameras was at, I think, 2 a.m. on June 1st. Season closes at midnight on June 1st.
So you still tried, right?
Nope. I never saw him. I only saw him on cameras. I only saw the only bear came in while I sat in that chair was a mom and 3 cubs, and it was the raddest experience I've ever had with bears. I mean, I'm sitting 12 feet above her, and she had no idea I was there, sniffing all over, but never looked straight up.
Yeah.
Made crazy sounds to like
talking
just,
to bears
just clicking, like
chopping her jaw.
Yeah, to like keep the cubs
Bears
close
in
to her.
check. Yeah.
And like they went up to the station, looked around, and then she smelled me once she got up there, and she was like, "We're out of here," and that was it. But it was made all that 1,500 pounds of crap I carried in there worth it in that one experience. Just filming it.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
There they are.
if she just reached up, she could untie my boots. Literally. Like, I don't know how safe this is.
Yeah. And she's with her cubs. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, I bet you could get like trapped there too. Like if one comes in, doesn't want to leave, and it's like time for you to go, and it's getting dark, and you're like, all right, well, I can't go.
I walked out of there in the dark once.
Or you like just throw a little rock towards it and make it run off.
I don't know what I'd do. I mean, I have my pistol. I'd probably just fire it in the air if I really had to get out of there.
Yeah.
Oh, you did walk out from the stand in the dark?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And it's all solo. I was only in there by myself, really.
Did you ever hear anything?
But that doesn't.
Nothing?
No. And honestly, like it was like whatever. Hands definitely on my pistol.
Yeah.
But it's nothing like Afognak.
Oh, yeah.
Like just walking.
We gotta
there
get into
in
that.
the daylight.
Yeah, 100% want to get into a fog.
We got to get into that.
Terrifying.
Yep. I want to get into it right now.
Well, you
Tell
guys
us about Afognak.
You gotta get that tag.
Well, real quick, we brought back Chad Aurentz.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right.
We haven't even like started the show. Hey, welcome
it was
now.
fun. It was fun because we just like Chad came in. We haven't seen you in months, right? And we're like, oh, let's catch up. We're like, well, let's catch up and record. But it's hard not to just start talking because like everything that comes out of your mouth is like, what's going on, Chad? It's always awesome. So it's like hard. Then you finally hit record, and so we just were ripping. I was like, well, let's reintroduce our special guest today.
Yeah. Welcome to another Alaska Wild Project podcast, episode 45.
Damn.
Chad Aurentz.
45.
Hell yeah.
We're coming on 49. Who's going to be 49?
Ooh, the number 49er. Do we have a guest scheduled?
You need to have like ex-governor or something for that.
Man, I know, dude.
I feel like
Actually, I got a homie that gave me a number for a guy.
Damn.
Yeah,
Or
that's
the
a good
governor.
idea.
or somebody like significant to Alaska history. Some super old like guide number 11 or something.
Charlie from Good Time Charlie's.
That would be interesting. I played plenty of soccer against him.
Do you think he's still up here in Alaska this time of year, or is he somewhere?
Man, he always played the outdoor leagues. They always had a team
Charlie,
in
man.
outdoor.
You guys ever been to Good Time Charlie's?
Yeah, one
Once.
time.
I've been
Me
there
too, once. What's up with that? Is that
I'm
just
being
'cause-
honest when I say once.
Me
Yeah,
too.
me too.
Me too.
Brock
me
took
too.
me in there.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
surprised at the talent.
At the quality? Oh, yeah.
The quality?
Yeah.
Okay, way
Dang,
better,
whoa,
way
hey, man.
better word.
Oh, I had my expectations were
The quality of the
real
customer
low.
service, okay? Mine too, and I was very surprised.
But then Brock was like, "Yeah, dude, he like flies people."
Oh yeah, it's a full
for summer because this
Yep.
is a
Yeah.
big deal. I was like, "Well, that makes sense."
houses the whole nine. Yeah, I was surprised too.
The craziest thing I thought in there
Super
was how you
expensive,
could
though.
throw the quarters, and the girl who's the bartender is like wearing like a belt that has cups so you can like try to aim. And people were like literally throwing quarters at this lady.
I didn't experience that.
I didn't.
That
I wouldn't.
seems really mean.
I
know.
wouldn't do
That
it.
was
She's
what I
like,
thought, too.
she's like, I don't mind. I'm like, I'm
And there's just
not
littered
going-
with fucking quarters, and people like roll up dollars and make planes and like.
I feel like,
But she's not like, she's just the
still
bartender.
slanging. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, that's why she's only getting quarters. Dudes are mean.
Yeah, there's a whole thing there.
Guys are mean, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was like twice as much too.
Oh, I'm sure it's a little marked up.
Yeah, I was
Hey, you're
like,
in the middle of
dances are
nowhere.
$50
Tourism.
for a song. I'm like, what? I was like, man, is the price going up? I just hadn't been to church in a while, I guess. So
Yeah, those days are.
yeah, I was
Long gone for me.
Yeah, man. Jeez,
That was a good memory, though. You knew the dollar of the dance.
Well, it just blew my mind. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. I was like, dang, some inflation going on in this industry.
What is it
mean,
at the Bush Company?
I thought it was $20 a song or whatever. I
don't
mean,
even-
I'm not really like a lap dance guy, but
No.
I just like drove past that motherfucker like a million times. I'm like, yo, me and the homies were in the motorhome and we were mobbing down. I'm like, tonight's the night, boys. Mob the old scrode over in there.
Same story.
And they were like, what? I've always wanted to come here. I was like, yeah, I was leaving it for a surprise because I didn't know I was going to do it. We rolled in there, man, and I was like, oh, damn. Well, this is pretty nice, actually. So we caught it like midweek, so it wasn't like crazy. But there was a lot of tourist boys in there. They were the ones spending inflation
It wasn't
money.
very busy when we went.
That's actually a good idea. You should have like Justin from the Bush Company or like someone like that. That would
Yeah.
be a good podcast. It really
Oh, yeah.
would.
49er, yeah, no shit.
I mean, Justin probably has some crazy stories because he grew up
Probably.
in that.
I'm sure he has.
you go to school with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Justin.
Yeah. I've never met him, but I know all you East boys.
Great
go
guy.
way
And he's
back.
super into
Yeah.
like working out now. He's like fucking swole.
all yoked out.
You seen him?
Well, I mean, no, I haven't seen him in a while.
Like a
I mean, we
picture
used
of
to
him?
do a lot of stuff with him with AK Soul back in the day.
Yeah. No, but he's like
I wouldn't doubt it. He's living-
buff. Like
Well, him and his sister do the whole like
yoked out?
They treat it like the
super
slow.
yoked, dude. Hold on, I gotta.
So
look
they
him
do
up,
like
dude.
2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, working the
Oh, is that how they do it?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's how they were last time
I wonder
they
how
talked to
the
them.
Bushco's doing after the COVID shit. Because like, I know it was a herd unit. Well, I mean, I heard or was
I
told
don't know,
or
6
whatever.
feet in a mask. Like, were they fine?
Yeah. I mean, still enjoy.
Did they not
scenery.
fall under? You know,
I don't know, man. That shit was all shut down for a while.
I guess did bars completely shut down? I can't remember.
Yeah, they
thought
did.
so,
Remember,
yeah.
Mike? Remember, Mike was like posting about
did.
like just
did.
talking all about it. Of
They
course.
weren't essential. Yeah, because weed stayed open, and
Yeah.
bar people were not happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
the
and
restaurants.
that's you're right, because that's when they made it legal for you to like order a drink from the bar. Like you could
to
you
go.
could- yeah, you could get to go stuff.
It's insane.
Now,
I mean, why
you wanna
not?
legalize
You
it?
should still be able to get to go.
Well,
Why
when I
fuck
lived in-
not?
when
If
I
you're gonna
lived
go
in
to go, I'm
Arizona,
gonna
they
go
had-
home, or you're gonna go camping, and you're gonna be parked there. Why not?
Arizona had drive-through. Like you'd be like, I'll take a 12-pack of Coors Light and then like a margarita, and it would be like in a cup with a straw.
Did it have to have a lid on it?
Drive-throughs. Full on.
Yeah.
I was like,
don't
this
drink
is
it.
so weird.
It's just a drive-through open bottle.
But they also
Policy.
had like happy hour, which Alaska doesn't really allowed to have. It has to be like that special has to. I don't know. There's some law.
There's a lot of work,
Duran
right?
tried to explain it to me.
Yeah, because
I was like, why is
we have
there
to
no
get Jack
drink
started on
specials?
that. All dealing with all that that's going on.
The crazy laws.
Isn't
Yeah,
that like
especially
so?
for the breweries versus the bars and fucking all this shit that
Isn't it
happens.
so like? I'll just say it like hypocritical because like, let's be honest, man. Alaska is a very wet place.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just exactly. So, like, do you think a happy hour is going to change anything?
It might be.
I mean,
listen. When I lived in
you're
Arizona,
right. Okay, Alaskans
I went
are
to
extra,
a bar
so.
called Cluck You, and on Thursdays, it was a chicken wing place. But on Thursdays,
Let's hope so.
it was called Bladder Buster Thursdays, and it was penny pitchers of beer.
Wow.
1 penny, because in the state there has to be
A charge.
money exchanged. It was penny pitchers of beer till someone took a piss. And if you left, if you went outside, you couldn't come back in until the special was over.
Wow, that's really nice.
Wow.
You can't do that in Alaska.
No,
Hell
you should be
no.
able to.
That
though.
would be a real.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
We're,
man.
we're like the fucking last frontier. We should be able to be doing wild shit.
Yeah.
well,
why not?
I mean, you could
Probably.
do dollar beers at Coots back in the day.
They don't
Yeah,
do
I
that
mean,
no
that
more?
was,
And
I
there
don't
was
think so.
there's because it
I think
was
they're
like,
like $2.50.
I think it was because it
inflation.
wasn't a specific. Duran explained it to me how they could do it at Coots, but Coots kind of always had some.
Well, Duran's supposed to come on, isn't? Didn't we talk about having Duran?
Yeah, man, I kind of missed my window.
That would be
and
49, man. That'd be fucking sick.
Duran.
Yeah. We should get Duran in for 49.
Man, I'll try to get. I have his cell phone number and everything.
Yeah.
Because I got his book in here actually over here. Mountain climber, right?
No, that's you're talking. Duran is the owner now, or I think he's actually the manager and it's employee owned.
It's employee owned because he sold to the homies.
You're talking Mike Gordon.
Gordon. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
My
I'm
bad.
thinking two different people.
Okay.
Mike Gordon is yeah.
He'd be a good one too.
Oh yeah, I don't know if he ever got Everest, but he got 6 of the 7 peaks, I believe.
I don't think he got Everest. Yeah.
He actually
I got
has
his
one
book.
of the funniest. Like I've used it a million times, and I don't even know why I remembered it. But I don't know if you remember when Coots had the I don't remember what it was called, but they had the little newspaper, and it would have a story in it by Mike every week or maybe every month.
It was just their little
Damn,
ad.
that
It
was,
was like
like
the
way
Klondike
early
Times
for
or
me.
something. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
But he had this super funny story in there about him. They were always about him traveling, and it wasn't so much about the mountaineering stuff as far as it was more about like the travels to get to these places. But he was talking about how he was in this airport and there was all these cancellations, and this girl that was working the desk at you're gonna get on your flight, but it's like canceled, and there's a line of people, and there's a guy that's like pushing his way to the front, and she's like, "Sir, you gotta wait in line, like you gotta go to the back of the line." And he's just like, no, and he's like pissed. He's like, I need to get on my flight, and I gotta get on there now. You don't understand. And she was like, "Sir, you have to go to the line. All these people are in the same boat as you." And he was like, "Do you know who I am?" And Mike said she picked up the intercom for the whole airport and was like, "Can someone come to gate 87? I have a man here who doesn't know who he is." And then the guy's like, he's like, "You know what? Fuck you." And she's like, "Sir, you're going to have to get in line for that too." I was I've remembered that story for like 15 or 20 years. From
Dude, she was just
the only thing that he wrote that I remember, but I was like, dude, that's one of the greatest stories. I don't know if it's true, but that girl shut that dude down.
She knew what she was doing.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's badass. So we initially started our conversation. Well, a second segment of our conversation was Afognak. So we talked a lot about Afognak on our sheep hunt. Rewind, right? Episode, oh man. Dude, we're just flying through them, man.
25.
25.
25,
Damn,
yeah.
almost
45.
Yeah, we've been rolling,
You guys are
dude.
killing it.
We've just been getting after it.
They're good too, man. They're good.
Yeah, you get a chance to listen to them because you're traveling, right?
All I listen to is podcasts and audiobooks because I'm commuting so much. And
that and Taylor Swift, man. I know you're a Swiftie.
I like Taylor Swift.
What's the podcast
I'm from
list?
Pennsylvania.
Run it down.
Shit.
I got a few. I listen to Rogan a lot, which I know everyone probably.
Did you see
either
the
hates
thing that Cam
He's
Haynes
great.
put out on like the ratings?
Oh, how he's got 11 million followers and like second place is like 3 million or something.
Yeah, and it's like a huge, like CNN is like last, and he's like the highest rating show. It's insane.
I believe it.
Do you guys follow Blood Origins?
No,
You should follow them
on
Blood
Instagram.
Origins?
Instagram and their podcast. Those dudes are like his mission. I think they're a
Nonprofit.
yeah, and they're really pushing the whole agenda of like.
These guys here.
Yep. Yeah.
Got it.
So it's a guy. He's originally from South Africa, and now he lives in the U.S. So he has a unique perspective, obviously, being from South Africa and understanding like the North American conservation model versus like the rest of the world. But how important like hunting is for that.
I guess we were following them.
They're pretty rad dudes, and they're putting out a lot of really good content. So I listen to their stuff a lot. You guys, who do I got on here? Meat Eater, but Meat Eater's kind of wearing on me.
Man,
Is it?
I'll be man. God.
I was just listening
Okay,
to
I'll be
it
honest,
today.
man. I'll be
I
100% honest. I stopped about 20 episodes ago.
I haven't stopped completely, but it's definitely.
What happened?
I just feel like
don't
the
know.
content's different.
And
It's
Meat
become-
Eater, we're not throwing you under the bus. This is just like dudes that are religious fans and listen for years.
I like Ranella a lot, and I just think that it's become like like a business. It's just a business now,
I could see that. Yeah.
and maybe everything goes that way when it becomes successful.
Would you
Oh,
say
it
too
does.
that it's like it's made a change like really hard in the last year?
Well, I know it's made a change enough that I don't know if you've seen the stuff that Matt Ranella, his brother, has said.
Man, that dude's he's
Listen
he's
to
a
that.
renegade. Yeah.
He basically is saying that like if you post your hunts on Instagram, like you're a terrible hunter. He said he straight up said Joe Rogan is the worst thing for hunting ever,
Wow. Damn, that's deep.
and he doesn't like any of the hunting celebrities, which his brother is one. So
It's probably the biggest.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I feel like
Don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of good content. I love
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that they talk about. I just feel that a lot of it doesn't really pertain to me. Like there's a lot of things that they're talking about, which I guess if I'd lived, in Minnesota, Montana, Michigan,
Midwest.
that area, Midwest, then I would be, and I
Yep.
did. I believe me, I probably listened to 200 of however many they have.
Yeah, 240.
But I
something.
just been like trying to look at other podcasts. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I've been
yeah.
listening to other like local ones and other people, just trying to like get a feel for
Yeah.
new ones, and then that
Their
takes up
style
time.
and-
You know what I'm saying? And someone's gotta give. And I like to listen to some lighthearted ones, like fucking comedy ones, and
Nice.
spitting chiclets, hockey ones. Just
Spittin' Chiclets
just
is
for
great.
fucking comedy, like just like you're doing something and you don't
Hot
really need to
boxing.
focus on what did he say?
Hot boxing with Mike Tyson's
Hot
another good
boxing,
one.
yeah, hot boxing. Fighter and the
I haven't
Kid.
heard that one yet.
Yep.
I like that one. UFC. I'm into UFC shit, so I like to listen to some of that stuff.
Yeah, man, I can't keep up with that. But, so yeah, I was going with the backtrack was like met you this like within the last year, couple
Yeah.
years. Well, I mentioned the meat party a couple years ago, and then we hooked up for our sheep hunt and like had a major bond connection. Like I think about you all the time. I'm like, man, because you had like
It was awesome.
God Afognak coming up, and then I saw you went on a moose hunt for the kiddo, and then I knew you had your mule deer hunt. I'm like, man, Chad's like, because you don't have like just the day job 9 to 5
No.
like a lot of us, and so you have this like really cool. You're like in this really cool, unique bubble where you are like super mature aged a lot of experience.
Whoa, leaking oil.
Leaking oil. He's a diesel. He's a
Definitely.
He's a 7.3. Just like
Used to be a two-stroke.
blue smoke, dude.
Now
Just
running
coming
on
out.
diesel.
I know, but you're a machine. You still can drag 8,000 pounds all day.
Real slow, but
Yeah, just
mule now.
yep. Anyway, so like you got this like cool pocket where you got like time and freedom, and where you're more like quality of life and like time,
100%.
you know, and then
Time
like,
is the key word.
and you got all these like cool hunts you're able to do, and I'm like so envious. I'm like, man, dude, you don't got to put in for PTO, you don't got to put in for vacation.
Nope.
You got your support with your team at work, and like you can bounce. And I'm like, man, so Afognak was cool because we spent we mentioned in episode 25, we spent like a solid like 16 hours in the tent the first day, or
You know what?
maybe 12.
Hold on, that explains a lot. Because this dude has been trying to sell me on a Afognak so hard.
I was
and now
already
know
sold, but
that just like intensified
so yeah,
it.
Chad
to the
like
max.
broke it down. He's like, yeah, man. He was like, and you had all these different. You had what 3 trips up to that point? I think
Yeah.
you had done all with success.
Yep.
And different experiences.
First
Oh,
one, no success.
Okay.
Never
okay.
even saw
forgot,
an elk.
I forgot that.
Shot deer.
Right. Well, you guys still like hunted and killed and
Yep.
did the whole thing. Brought some meat back for the freezer, but I was already like really, really excited about the opportunity to try and do an Afognak thing. I've watched lots of hunts on Afognak, and then I had the firsthand like hour by hour conversations with you about like what you guys did, and I could completely envision your stories because I've seen so many photos and videos and research of my own and Google Earth map poring over stuff that.
Well, there's a difference between doing all that and actually talking with someone that has gone and done it 100%. Because I've known about Afognak for a lot, and is from this old time guy who would. They don't give the details. They don't tell you what you're gonna. They're just like, oh, yeah, lots of bears. Make sure you bring the bear fence.
Brandon knows that I'm not that dude who's like, when you're like, oh, you got a sheep, where'd you get it? I'm not that guy that like side eyes you, like won't even tell you what mountain range. Like I'll give you coordinates. Like you still got to do the work. Like you're not gonna like impede on me.
And it's not easy. Like it was like I dare anybody to go do it. You probably do it once and be like, fuck that, I'm not doing that again. Because how many times, more times than not, it's not like a pleasant experience. It's hard.
It's, if you like sheep hunting, you should definitely hunt elk on Afognak. 100%. If you like sheep hunting, you're gonna like it.
It's hard
because it's gonna be hard.
Sold.
It's
still mountainous.
Adventure. Yeah.
It's super mountainous.
That's a sick picture.
And you're going to be on ridges, and it's going to be a ton of work. And then you're adding that element of just like Jurassic Park sized bears everywhere.
So walk us through the hunt without like the details, but as far as you got to get the boat, you got to fly here,
So
you got to.
it's a permit.
We did.
Homie got the permit.
It's a draw, but it's a pretty easy draw. Mm-hmm. So what we have 3 of us that do it. One of them's out of state. So if 3 people enter, one person's probably going to draw.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
It's pretty good odds. The first time I did it, we were on the eastern side of the island, which is it's state park, so it's never been timbered at all.
It's raw.
So I did that thinking that, because I had heard from people, there's a couple ways to do Afognak, and a lot of people will just go and you can rent like a truck and you can drive the logging roads. Or some people will go in boats. They'll just sit around, they'll sleep on the boat, and they'll find the elk, and then they'll go after one. So the first year we did it, we were on that east side. It was like dense, thick forest. Our approach was like we were calling, and I never even heard a bugle. The wind is blowing all the time, like ruined a tent. We camped up, we spiked up high. Our tent down below on the water had the bear fence around it. We never even saw a bear in 9 days. Like heard stuff outside the tent. No one peeked out. Just kind of like, hope the wind picks up so we can't hear that type thing, or can't wait till it starts raining so I don't hear every cracking stick out there. But we got a couple of deer, never even saw an elk. Weren't discouraged. Talked to the pilot. The pilot was like, he was like, so why did you hunt that side? And I was like, dude, I didn't want to pay like the trespass fees to the native corp. Have to be confined to camping in certain spots. And I definitely don't want to like drive logging roads. Like if I'm going to hunt elk in Alaska, I want it to be an lasting experience. I don't want it to be like how I know dudes from Montana do it and drive logging roads and do that type of stuff. Like I didn't want to do that. And this guy was like, well, he's like, you should put in for this one next year. And it's the Molina Lake area. He's like, it's out of the trespassing area and you're still going to work. He's like, I can tell you guys want to work and you don't want to just like drive up, shoot something.
Sure.
So that's what we started putting in for. We drew it. The following year, I drew a cow tag. Or we drew 2 cow tags, actually. And then this year, Nate drew the bull tag. We thought we did the cow tag the second year because I thought like, oh,
that's
that'll
like
be
October 1 to October 12th or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's like right at the end of September, into the beginning of October. And we did the cow thinking, oh, it'll be easier to draw and it'll be easier. And we're here for meat anyway. The cow tag is not easier because the cows are all, there's no like couple cows here, couple cows there. You have to find the herd.
Yeah.
And that took a while. And then the herd's usually not where you want them to be. And there's no satellite
like
cows.
In terms of like accessibility and like being able to shoot one in a spot where you get it. And
well, you just kind of like, you know, you start traveling every day and you know, like, well, it's exhausting just carrying optics and gun to here.
Is it one herd or do you think there's multiple?
No, there's multiple on the island. There's like, I think there's 2,200
total
or average around there elk on Afognak, and maybe it's combined with raspberry. I'm not sure.
That would make more sense, I think, because that's a large number.
But the herd we saw the second year was probably 100 at least. This year was smaller than that, but it was at least 40. But we saw a lot of satellites. So we can, then it's, I think the bull tag is a little easier to hopefully find something and you don't have to go after the whole herd.
Oh, because the bull will be like more separated from it.
Well, you'll have that herd bull, which was a monster this year.
Oh, wow.
But that was going to be, I mean, this year we got the cabin, which was awesome. And actually I have a video that you guys should just upload to your link. I don't know. It's like these guys that were in the cabin before us, they're Hawaiians. The funniest dudes. But they made like an hour and like 20-minute video of their whole hunt. Like they'd never even been to Alaska. They put in for this hunt and because of Steve Ranella.
Oh, okay.
Because Meat Eater hunted this area.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they got the one-antlered elk and all that. And it looked treacherous what they went through.
They got the cabin. And so these dudes made this video. It's hilarious. And you want to talk about like struggles, bro. These dudes.
These are like axis deer, hog hunter. Like,
well, the one guy lives in Utah now. The other guy still lives in Hawaii. Yeah. And then they had their uncle with them, who was a white guy. But they're super young, super funny. And they were telling us about it. He's like, I'll send you the movie. So we like exchanged contacts and stuff. And he's like, shoot some footage of us flying out of here. Yeah, because we pulled up.
Okay. Should we look it up real quick?
Oh, yeah, you can look it up. Or I don't know if they posted it on anything, but I have it. I'll tell you what it is.
Oh, you have it like the personal video.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't put it on YouTube?
Maybe. I'll tell you what his title is, and you can look it see.
Well, people want to watch it. We're talking about it.
Yeah, this is year 2, you're saying?
It's these guys. No, this was this year.
Oh, this last year.
We got the cabin this year.
Go back.
That's their names, and so maybe they put it on YouTube. But yeah, we rolled up in the plane, and we got weathered. We couldn't fly out of Anchorage to Kodiak. So we got weathered out.
Did you do Alaska Airlines to Kodiak and out, or did you just
Alaska Airlines?
So I heard some guys doing like straight Lake Hood and just going to Kodiak, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't think about.
You could. I mean,
Yeah.
you're flying. You're going in beaver. That's
That's
the cool thing. That's the other cool thing about it is it's like a sheep hunt, but you don't have to have like it's like a sheep hunt, but a moose hunt.
Only. You can take every fucking thing in on a beaver.
The air company we fly out with is like made fun of us every year. They're like,
wow.
"Are you guys sheep hunters by chance?" And I was like, "Why? Why do you say that?" Like, because like Nate's in full kuyu, and they're like, "No, because you guys are 500 pounds under the weight limit." Oh. He's like, "Most people have to pay extra because they go over." I was like, "So we have 500 more pounds till we pay extra?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a beaver. Like we can haul 2,500 pounds, whatever." And I'm like, "People go over that? They have 500 pounds more stuff than us?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, they got like generators and shit." I'm just like,
well, that's what I'm telling you. This old man that you would hunt Afognak, he would be out there for like 2 weeks. He said he would just go out there the whole time and just like live out there and get fucking monster bear and elk.
yeah.
But this is like an old time trucker dude who's
Yeah, it might have been before tags and the whole thing.
no, I think
Possibly.
this dude's still doing it.
No, I meant before there was draw tags where you like had to draw a tag to kill something.
Oh, okay, yeah,
You know,
I'm sure
you
he was
might
doing it
just been
then
over there.
too.
Yeah.
Well, these guys, like, they did it up. Like, they didn't spare any expenses. I guess there's a company you can rent an inflatable boat with a motor. So they got the boat and the motor for just running around the lake.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's a pretty small lake. But they got, like, he was like, went to the one end of the lake, motor stopped working.
Oh no!
Tried to paddle back, wind's blowing that way. He's like, slept on the side of the lake under tarps.
Oh no!
Didn't realize it was getting down below freezing at night. Almost died. Like their stories.
Shit. These dudes were just like, yeah, fuck now.
They lost.
Is it that lake in the background?
Yeah, that's Molina Lake.
Damn, it looks epic though.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it was.
Look at
crazy.
a creek coming down right there in the middle, like just north of the island right there.
Yeah. So
Okay.
there's some dudes camped right where you're on that flat straight to the island. There's like 2 camps right next. That's the thing about Molina Lake is it'll get crowded, but
Yeah.
most people won't go that far. Like most people will try and find stuff right around their camp.
Okay, because they're like, oh, let's go for a hike today, and it's like, well, this is miserable as fuck.
Are they successful sometime?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some guys that we ran into at the airport, and they had a pretty decent bull, and we were just chatting with them, like, they're like, oh yeah, we're in Molina Lake, like we camped at the bridge in between the 2 lakes. We got dropped off there, and then we hiked up, and we just spike camped, and we're like, oh, we saw you guys, and they're like, yeah, and then some dudes shot, and like the whole herd was like way far away from us on the other side of the island, and then someone shot over there, and then the whole herd came right to us. And so we it was the easiest hunt we've ever had.
They came right in.
We were like, you're welcome.
You're welcome, bud.
That was us. They're like, oh, that was you guys. Like,
shit.
oh, how's that pack out? I was like, rough.
Oh no!
5 miles, 100 pounds.
5 miles
5
is
miles.
what you guys end up packing that thing?
Yep. Wow. Twice.
Off the bone?
No.
You have to have it on the bone.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! I mean, look at that pack. Look at that picture right there.
Well, that had to be multiple trips.
Yeah, that's day 2.
So okay. So you guys packed out like a quarter each or something.
The terrain doesn't look very looks elky.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
It's,
like the timber patches. and
Yeah,
the
it's all like
openings
grassy.
and-
There's
yeah.
not a lot of shale. It's
Well, that's
but still
that's
up
the
high.
ridge top, right? He's standing on. It's I mean,
Looks
if
like
you,
what is that, like 1,200 feet? 1,000 feet?
I think 1,400. About.
Okay, it's pretty high.
It's about what it gets to. I think
Yeah.
that lake sits at like 600.
Oh, I meant above the lake. So you were 800 feet above
No,
the lake?
it's got to be. I could be.
It looks like 1,000 easy.
I have it on Nate's.
You no doubt climbed like a wall to get up there, I'm sure. Something pretty steep.
Well, Nate like used his Strava, so we went. Oh, so the lake's at 200 feet. Sorry,
So
and it
1,000
went to 1,800 was the highest.
Okay. Which
So
looks like there's higher
the
points
pack
on
out
it.
was 9.71 miles with 2,900 feet of elevation exchange.
What are you looking at?
Brutal.
Strava. Like it'll track you.
Gotcha. I never used it.
Yeah. We wanted to see how far it was. 9.93.
So 10 miles.
That's total? That's one way? That's what?
No, that's round trip.
The whole thing?
The whole thing?
Yeah, that's round trip.
And you had to go do it twice? 3 times? Twice?
Well, we did it numerous times, but
Just for fun?
with weight, we did it. Well, trying to find elk. And then deciding like how far we were going to go. We saw that group where he shot that elk like 3 days before that. And I was like, I don't know, man. That's far. I was like, we need him to come over this valley.
Yeah.
Because it was 2 valleys over from where we were camped. And the Hawaiian dudes told us that. They're like, man, you don't want to shoot it that far.
Yeah.
But the game trails are like this wide.
Yeah.
Like
They're
nice.
like a super highway.
Super
And if you
Yeah.
just stay on those, you're fine. And that's why it's 10 miles. Because we're camped by the
trail.
lake.
Could have cut it off.
So we
but
walk
you were-
up this
yeah.
valley and then gain elevation this way and then walk these ridges all the way back. And so instead of coming, like we did this one day, like came straight down
up.
the ridge to the cabin. And it was a nightmare with no weight.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, through the
Because all that
alders
brush
and all
Gets
that.
wet and
dude,
slippery.
it's like, I don't know if it's raspberries, it's like old growth. It's like,
It's like rooty potholes, right?
no, the brush is like, it's like grapevines. It's like, you know how
Like
it's
netting.
It's like wicker.
Yeah, there you go.
Like it doesn't, there's no flex to it. It's all like hard, like it's dead, but it's not. And it's got to be raspberries because
'cause it's
if
so
you don't
tight.
have gloves on, it will just like, your hands will be shredded.
Oh, okay.
Because it has like tiny little burrs on it.
Little
Yeah.
pricks. Yeah.
What pants did you use? What pants do you suggest?
I've been wearing this new Canis stuff and I dig it.
For the it didn't get all tore up.
Nope. But no, Nate's stuff was fun. We only came down that stuff once, and from then on, I was like, dude, I'm not
game
leaving a game
trails.
trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
like-
if it's extra walking, like it's just
Well, the thing is like, you got to just realize that, like, distance isn't like what you're worried about. It's effort, right? You have to like change your mindset. Like, and I'm super bad at wanting to like,
just go up.
let's just go the shortest route. But like those animals wake up every day with like one job: conserve energy. So like whatever route they put in, that's going to be the
it's the least
easiest
path of resistance is for a reason.
100%. So just stay on their game trails.
Yep.
It's the same with sheep. You saw how I sheep hunt. Like I will follow. If I find a game trail, I don't leave it until I have to. Because you know that one, it'll go through.
Yep.
Like it's not going to cliff out. I mean,
Yeah.
it might get a little.
Scary.
Yeah,
It might get a
because
little.
because
it
they'll
might
get to
cliff
a
out
wall
to some
and they're-
people. Some people might be like, "No, that's cliffed out, bro. I'm not going through that."
Like, no, no, no,
I'm
no.
like, but the sheep did.
I said that to you once. I was like, "We're gonna go around
Well,
that."
we
You're
are-
like, "Well, it doesn't look as." I guarantee when we get there, it won't be as bad. I'm like, "All right," because if I was here by myself, I would not go over there.
But it wasn't bad.
No, I mean, it was like
It was pay
testing my
attention,
limit. Oh, it was pay attention. Yeah,
but it wasn't like
never was I like, "Oh my god, my life's in danger."
if I fall, it's over. Like
No, you don't
still
wanna
had
fall.
a chance. You wouldn't want to fall, but if
No.
you did, you'll probably be
just
fine.
fall uphill.
Fall uphill and grab real quick.
Yeah, grasp it.
Let's take a quick minute real quick
for it.
and thanks to some of the sponsors. Tailored Restoration. Listen, if you're in the valley right now and you still need some help,
Dude, those
at
guys,
your
if they
house,
weren't already busy,
they're extremely busy. Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency services. Might be a delay now. Helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, wind damage, post-emergency cleaning, remodeling, and the aftermath. Burst pipes, overflowing toilets, frozen toilets, downed trees, fires, pet accidents, vandalism. Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you anytime, day or night. Matsu, 373-1239. Or hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Treehouse AK, your one-stop dispensary located at 341 Boniface Parkway. Be sure to ask the bud tender about their deal of the day, because honestly, there's always something good on deck. And guys, listen, this is where the culture lives. At the Treehouse, their dedication to servicing consumers has been developed through a lifetime of involvement in the cannabis culture. They're committed to providing the highest quality products at whatever value your budget affords, while always maintaining the deep-rooted principles that have carried them this far. Their focus is on relationships over transactions, and you can always depend on them to treat you with respect you deserve. Hit them up at thetreehouseak.com. Please remember, you must be 21 years of age to enter the store.
Serrano's Mexican Grill. Since 2008, Serrano's has Anchorage's own new generation of old casina. Their menu showcases the passion and love of their rich heritage and unique family recipes that have been passed down through generations. Serrano's goal is to embrace and display traditional flavors using the best ingredients that are available. They focus on making everything from scratch daily. In-house special menu includes handcrafted corn tortillas, Serrano salsa, carne asada marinades, and chorizo. But don't take their word for it. Experience the tradition and sabor for yourself. Locations on Tudor and Northern Lights. Check out their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
So was Afognak in the bear situation as like what it's hyped up to be, or what it's like with the stories?
I haven't had a run in there at all. Seen a lot of bears, but no like encounter that was even iffy. Everything was far away, and everything that saw us or scented us took off. But those Hawaiian guys had a run in at night under headlamp, and said it was terrifying. Thought they were dead.
Oh,
there was so in the valley where Nate shot that bull,
It was terrifying. Thought they were dead.
yeah. I mean, nighttime's a scary time.
if you
to be
watch
around.
that video, they're pretty dramatic dudes. But I mean, they don't know anything about any of this. So
Yeah.
I imagine the bear situation anywhere in Alaska is going to be like insane to anyone who's not from Alaska. And you go to Afognak or Kodiak, it's going to be light
Amplified.
years.
Yeah,
Because that place is like highest bear density on earth, I'm pretty sure.
one of them. Yeah.
But we haven't had any problems. But supposedly there was the guys that were there the same time as us in that same valley. I didn't see the guys that we ran into at the airport actually shoot their bull. I did hear their shot, but I couldn't find them. But I saw two other guys shoot into the herd, and I saw something go. I saw an animal go down and roll into some gnarly brush, and I was like, "That's gonna be a nightmare." I watched them for about 15 minutes because these dudes didn't look like they knew where that animal was. Then we were on our way to retrieve the meat when that happened the following day. So when we were coming back, I still saw that elk there, but those guys were not near it. They were like way away from it, looking for it. But I wasn't in a position where I could tell them or communicate with them. I was looking through binos at probably a mile away. Those guys apparently came out, and they only had one front quarter. They said they lost all their meat and got rushed by a bear, and one dude got pushed down, and the other one said it pushed down on his chest.
Oh, so the bear actually like attacked him.
This isn't firsthand story. This is from the guys that we ran into who said we pushed the herd to them, and they actually got an elk. I was like,
Yeah,
I've heard this quite a bit on Afognak, where dudes retrieve part of an animal and lose it. It's gone in a day. Fish and Game's never gonna bust you. I could see how someone could have one pack out and be like, I'm not fucking doing that again.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Where it was like so fucked up.
It was
and-
odd to me that, I mean, you shoot something, you break it down, you carry something out that first trip.
Yeah, especially if 3 or 4 guys, everybody's going to take whatever load
They
they
had
can
2.
take. Okay.
But you took a front quarter?
Maybe that's all.
Like, that's what you chose to take out the first day? Like, the first thing coming out with me is back straps and tenderloin.
Right.
And all that.
Yeah.
A front
Edible
quarter if
meats.
I can get it.
And how many of them were there?
2.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you're good for 100 pounds each, you can at least take.
The guy said he got bit on his hand. The other guy said it pushed on his chest.
Jeez.
I mean,
That's scary. Then you're just getting the fuck out of there.
if a bear pushed on your chest, you probably got some cracked ribs, I would think.
Yeah. I mean,
Even
if you
if
made contact at all with it, you're not going to go back to that thing.
I feel like if you got touched by a bear, you're probably going to have more than a red mark.
Right.
But I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But I could understand how someone could do one pack out and be like, fuck
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And I did lose meat to a bear. We lost a hind quarter out of a tree.
Yeah.
The second year we did it
Yep.
from a cow. And there was just 2 of us. And Ian was only 9 months removed from broken femur. So I mean, he could carry what he could carry. And he did an unbelievable job.
Yeah.
But we couldn't get all that meat out in one day. I tried. So I hung it as high as I could in the tallest tree I could find, way away from the gut pile. And I think the bear that got it just either got pushed off the gut pile by a bigger bear or came that way and just found it on his way to the gut pile. And was like, oh, and then because he got a front quarter.
Yeah.
And that sucks losing meat like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And was it like, was like evidence where he was there where he like kind of churned up the area and kind of like it was all matted down? And
Well, I hung it so where we could see from the valley across. Like I could see the game bags in the tree through binos.
oh, okay.
And so we only had pistols going back in. We weren't hunting anymore. So it was just like pistols. And we were coming up and Nate was gone. It was just Ian and I because Nate's mom was passing away.
Yeah. He had to fly out.
So he had to fly out. And when we were coming up on it, I was like, I don't think all the game bags are there. He's like, nah, they're kind of hanging behind each other.
Yeah. Like hidden or something.
And I was like, I don't know, Ian. Like, I feel like we're missing meat. I was like, so just get the strap off that pistol when we get close. There's a bear in there. And I couldn't see him on the gut pile, but the gut pile was like in brush.
Yeah.
So
you
we
would
got
never
in there.
be able to glass that.
There's nothing around the big tree, but it was missing a bag. So I was like, well, let's get your gun out. I'm going to go.
What gun do you carry when you're in there?
It's a Glock 21, a 45, but it's converted to a 460 Roland.
Damn. So it's throwing some lead.
It's like equal to it's real close to like 44 Magnum power.
Mm-hmm.
But it still all fits in the magazine. So you
It's like
still
a 300 grain or something. Or what would that be, right?
It's pretty close,
Yeah.
I think.
It do damage.
Yeah, when you got 14 rounds.
When you see those Kodiak brownies, though, you kind of think like it's a lot of animal to take down. Like it feels like you.
Oh,
I mean, I certainly looked at my 44 when I saw one for the first time, and I'm like, whew, I better make them all count.
that pistol is like, it's like if a real good lighter was like what you carry numerous of for fire starter, the pistol is like it's like a flint and a striker. Like you got it,
Yeah.
but you have no, like you
peace of
pray you
mind.
never have to use it.
Absolutely.
No, I don't want it. Like, I mean, I don't know. You need a shotgun is what you should have for bear
Or
protection.
4570.
Or 4570, which is what I have now.
Yeah. And you know, Daniel, that's like lever action. Yeah. Huge grain, short knockdown power.
That's what I took this year
Yeah,
Right.
but I mean, you're
because I wasn't hunting.
Was that like tactical one you got like modded out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me all about it. That thing's sweet.
But I've been having issues with it.
Oh.
It's hanging up. And I've heard stories about them, and I've taken it into Wild West twice. And they're like, I don't know. So I really want it to work because they're cool ass guns.
Yeah, that thing's nasty.
But I'm like, dude,
This thing's got to be
my
like,
Glock will run like it mud,
bulletproof, so to speak.
Whatever. It works. You pull the trigger, it goes off. This thing is like cycling around. It's not like, so I don't trust it at this point. And maybe I just need to shoot it 1,000,000 rounds through it to get it broke in and wore in so it does cycle. But I've been having some issues with it. And I really want that gun to work.
Yeah, because it's like perfect.
Yeah, and it's like red dot, super fast, super easy, short, easy to carry.
Yeah, within the 25, 30-yard range.
Yeah, money.
If you had that bear encounter.
And they're tack drivers. Like, that thing is like, I mean, you can group with that red dot sight like 4 inches at 100 yards, no problem. So they're accurate. But if it doesn't go off.
Yeah, it's not going to do you a whole lot of good.
So it's kind of got me a little worried.
So you guys take the pistols, you get to the kill, and
yeah, and so I started rolling over the edge, and it's kind of like it's just like convex roller. Like as you walk forward, it just keeps getting steeper and steeper over the edge. So I get to where I can see the brush, and I was like, "Hey!" And that bear stood up out of the brush, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like. Biggest bear I've ever witnessed 200 yards away. And I know, like, I stood in those alders, like breaking down that elk, and my hand was like barely touched the top of the alders. That's 8 feet. That thing's whole head was sticking out of the top, and it looked like a freaking trash can. And I was like backed up, fired a shot, was like yelling, "Hey, get out of here!" And we're like, the meat's like 600 yards away from that. So
Past
I went
him?
uphill and then up a tree, and this is down towards the bottom. So I got back up to Ian, and I was like, "Dude, there's that big bear is on there, like that monster bear we saw the day before glassing." I was like, "It's on the kill." I was like, "So just stay here with your pistol out. And I'm going to climb up this tree and I'm going to cut all this meat down, and we're going to just like grab the bags and just drag them out of here as fast as we can." And I was like, honestly, like, you'll drag while I have the gun ready, and then I'll drag while you're covering. Like, it was that.
Very uneasy feeling.
Yeah. And probably unnecessary, but like,
sure.
I don't know. Those bears are terrifying. So I was just like, let's just get out of here.
Yeah.
Then we got it all carried out of there, but I lost that front quarter.
Okay. So you're pretty sure that bear got it too?
I don't know if that bear got it. Like I said, maybe coming down and seeing that bear stand out of the trees, he definitely was going to be able to. I mean, I put it as high as I possibly could.
Yeah,
in the
and if
biggest
they really
tree,
want it, they'll get
which
it.
was like maybe the bottom of the bag was like 12 feet off the ground.
Right.
But if
so
that
if he
bear
reaches
was
up or jumps, he can
10 feet tall, 9 feet tall, he can reach that shit.
Yeah.
Just enough to yank it down.
You know what throws me off about bears, and like maybe we get like an expert on bears, or email, call, message, or a guest would be cool. Like you're told all the time that bears don't like fresh meat. They don't like raw, fresh meat. They like rotted meat. They like aged meat. And then you hear these like stories of Afognak where guys get like, they shoot an elk and they pack out like 2 quarters, and then they come back and then there's a bear on it. And it's like
yeah, gunshots at dinner bell.
Right.
That's all you hear.
And that's like the freshest meat that then also a predator kills a live animal, which is not rotted, but they also bury it and come back later or whatever. And it's just, maybe it's a
preference thing.
Well, maybe the idea that a Kodiak brown bear, given its like sheer size and predatorial behavior, that it like has to fuel that trash can sized body and beastliness. So it's like fucking eats whatever it can when it can, and it just like constantly eating.
I think that those bears on Kodiak and Afognak are like, I mean, I think that they are so big because of the fact that they have like an ungodly amount of food sources from vegetation.
Oh yeah,
healthy vegetation.
Before we put deer and goats on there, they were already good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like the first place we landed, like you couldn't walk across a creek without stepping on like dead pink salmon. Like you physically could not pick a spot where you could tiptoe and not touch a salmon.
Yeah.
There's no, I
With
was
bear
like,
tracks and shit.
so that was the first
everything.
trip we didn't even see a bear.
Right. Yeah. Go figure.
And then I took my wife to Kodiak for our anniversary to specifically see a bear. We stayed there for 6 days. We never got to fly out to Katmai like we were planning to do because of fog. But rented a car. I was like, there's bears everywhere here, babe. We're going to see a bear. We're going to drive every road on Kodiak.
You went all out to the missile silo, the
past
whole,
all of it, as far as you could go, every direction. Fossil Beach, all of it. Never saw a bear. I was like, well, I've been to Afognak for 9 days in a tent. I've been here for 6, driving around, going around in boats. I was like, everyone's full of shit. There's no bears on Kodiak or Afognak. Like, I don't believe any of the stories. And then when you start seeing them, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
They're like 10 in one valley.
Right.
One little valley, we saw 10 different bears in an hour and a half of glassing. And I was like, but I'll tell you what, we saw a grizzly rolling up on like 4 satellite elk. And when he made those elk, he was like, other way.
Oh,
He
really?
didn't want anything to do with those bull elk.
Oh, really?
I was because I was like, we were watching it, like I was like, ooh,
He's gonna get one.
we're about to get some National Geographic right here.
Yeah.
Like I was getting out a snack, like I was inspired to like phone scope out. I was like, this is gonna be good. And then like those elk did not take off. They didn't, like 2 of them stayed bedded down, never even stood up. I was like, they must eat a lot of deer and not really mess with the elk, or they get like the calves, or they take cows, but I don't think they want anything to do with those horns.
Yeah, too big. They're grouped up.
And
There's
those
got to be.
horns
Well, there's
are
just probably
deadly.
easier opportunities.
Yeah, they
Like,
don't.
they
Yeah,
don't
they just
have
know
to,
they're
like-
not. They don't need.
It's not
to.
life or death. Like I'm gonna
No.
risk getting gored by an elk
Yeah.
horn
Yeah.
to eat it when he can be like go around the corner of the valley and go smoke a little fawn or,
or
something.
eat salmon, or
Yeah.
crush this whole. I mean, the whole thing's raspberries.
Yeah, just berries for days.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that they just don't mess with them because it's not worth the effort.
So your experience in 21 elk hunt was, would you say like the top experience versus the other years? Like
Yeah.
yeah, because you got a bull this time.
Because Nate had a bull tag.
Yeah,
So I wasn't even hunting; it was just helping him.
yeah.
Which was
did
rad.
you shoot any deer?
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, when you did the pack out, you were probably like, I don't want to haul another piece of meat for the
Well,
rest of my
no,
life.
we would have, and we got
Okay.
stuck there for 2 more days because of wind.
Did you guys get the elk earlier in the hunt too?
No, we got it
Oh.
on like day 6 or 7.
Oh, so you've been hunting hard a long time.
But we had to stay an extra day. We couldn't get the plane in because of wind. So we hunted that whole day for deer, specifically for deer.
after the elk was down.
Elk, once the elk, we hauled it out, and then the rest of that day we went and hunted deer that night. And we thought we'd get out in the morning, but it was still too windy on the lake.
Did you see a lot of deer when you were elk hunting? Were you
Until
like,
the wind-
oh, we got to come back to this hill
Until
if
the
we-
wind picked up, and then we weren't seeing anything.
Oh, did it push them out or bed them down? Maybe.
I think it just bedded them down. And
Yeah.
when they're in that, we were seeing them up high.
Oh,
So when we were en route to get the elk, but we didn't see any big bucks, and we kind of made a rule like, we're here for elk. So we're not going to shoot a deer risking blowing elk out unless there's a big buck. Then and it was really for my buddy Ian
yeah.
to let him. I was like, I don't need to shoot anything until I'm not even going to carry my rifle. Like I'll just carry my pistol and just
Glass
travel
and
lighter
hunt,
and just I'll carry all the optics, and like I'll just help Nate. So
Yeah.
that was the focus. And we didn't see a lot of deer. So we didn't get any deer.
Didn't need it anyway.
Nope. We saw
I
some
mean-
really big does, really big bodied does,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I mean, what I always like envision this like a Kodiak elk hunt where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get the fall tag and I'll bring the boys and 3 or 4 dudes and like, hey, you can come. You're not gonna shoot an elk, but you can shoot deer. So
Yeah.
we'll like shoot deer if we don't see elk. Oh, awesome! And then I hear these like stories and the weight and the distance and the everything you went through to like get an elk, and I'm like, I think you'd probably get that elk out of there and not want to shoot something. Thank you. Shoot another damn like animal, like just because of the work, like.
Yeah, but once you got it at camp, then it's like reset.
Yeah. You get a sleep
good
in,
meal.
And
you're like, all right, let's go find deer. Because they don't, you can throw that whole thing on
especially if you get like, you get a couple days where they can't travel. It's like, well, I'm not going to sit in the tent.
Yeah, we had a cabin this year, which is like ridiculous.
Yeah, which is even, you guys are dry.
And I mean, that makes everything like, that makes that 5 miles. Like I said to Nate, I was like, you think we would have shot your bull if we were in a tent? He's like, I don't know.
That's like, mentally.
He's like, we might have like, and we were going. So I knew where the herd was. I saw him the night before. We watched them till it was getting dark enough that we needed to get back before dark. So I was like, dude, they're deep.
We don't.
That's when he Stravad it, because I was like, I want to know how far it is. Like, I want to know, because it's gonna be gnarly. So he Stravad it, and then we came back. Came back to the cabin. I should have, but it doesn't work for anything but caribou. If it calls a caribou to a Afognak, dude, Jack's going to sell these for a lot more money.
There is caribou and reindeer on Kodiak. I don't know about Afognak, but
is there?
On Kodiak there is.
No shit.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
I think they're like reindeer though. They're not. They're not.
Someone had them at
classified as Kodiak in the regulations.
Yeah, they're reindeer.
But they're reindeer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, someone had a reindeer farm down there,
and then now they run amok. Mm-hmm. You don't hear about people like murking big.
Because I think there's bison there too.
Oh, there's for sure
on that farm.
I stayed on that ranch.
Oh,
yeah,
sweet.
Back in 18, I got to stay on the ranch.
Is that the craziest drive though? You come up and you're like, all right,
what the fuck?
Are we in Hawaii?
Yeah,
it's like rolling hills, like Ireland. I'm like,
there's like
I think
dudes
there's
surfing and shit. I'm like, what? I'm like, I didn't even know there's like surf teams. And
Nate surfed out there. He's like, oh, it was so cool, dude. There was a salmon shark in the water. I was like,
yeah,
bro. Then I fucking wouldn't be. No way. Like,
I rolled in there and I look over and I'm like, there's like humpbacks jumping, and then there's like dudes surfing, and then there's bison, an elk, and a deer, and then like goats in the distance, and I'm like, like this is the raddest space I've ever been. Like I saw all this shit in one little spot. I'm like, oh my god, I couldn't. That's when it clicked. I'm like, wow, this place is totally different.
Jurassic Park.
It's like it's not. It's Alaska, but it's not.
It's like our little experiment.
Yeah, it is, man. It like busted off from the mainland, and then it's its own little world.
It's almost like what's that, Madagascar?
Yeah.
It's its own little thing that's happening.
We were like,
right
hey,
there.
let's throw some animals on there and see if they survive.
I think that,
there's going to be more
everyone should go there and hunt. Probably.
I bet they got some islands that are just.
I bet you there's some massive bears over there.
Oh, man.
Like, the peninsula.
Did you say Ireland?
When you look up the numbers on how big that Siberian,
Kamchatka,
the whole Siberian
peninsula. Remember Austin was talking about?
It's insane the amount. Like America, it's the entire America.
Isn't there like I swear I saw some.
To answer your question real quick, Russia has the highest density of bears in the world.
I'm not surprised.
Right. Kodiak's probably second place, but I did do
Canada's
a
probably
quick
up
church.
there too.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's probably like more bears they can even like really know. I mean,
do you follow any of those Russian guys on Instagram?
No,
you don't. Let me look up homie.
The only Russian I follow is Sergey here in Alaska.
Sergey, yeah,
he's always doing crazy snowboard and snow machine shit.
And another fun little factoid: I guess North Carolina has the most bears in the United States.
North Carolina,
New Jersey has the highest black bear density.
Yeah,
in the country.
Yeah, I remember watching.
They just banned black bear hunting.
I heard about that. What the fuck is up with that?
See how that
They're
works
like, the numbers are going down. It's like, are they?
See how that works.
And all the rich people from New York live in New Jersey.
I remember watching like randomly.
And they vote. Bears are so cute.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're in your trash.
Yeah. And eating your dogs. Shockey and his daughter, Eva, went on this black bear hunt in North Carolina. And the guide's like, yeah, biggest black bears in America are from here. And he's like, I don't know, because they hunt Vancouver Island up in BC. And they do have the biggest bears in terms of like fat, weight, heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're just like fat ass.
Yeah, I think the Boone and Crockett world record is like out of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
It's like 700
East Coast
something
or West
pounds.
Virginia or something like that. Yeah.
It's like 700 and something pounds.
It's
black
just
bear.
a big hoss. Like actual like measurement wise, like
probably
they
not
can't
as
touch
big.
BC, but I mean,
Yeah.
but in other words, like I want to say Eva got a big bear and then, or it was the other way around, but like one of them got a bear and then they like extended their trip because they were like, damn, they got to get these big hoss East Coast black bears, and they ended up shooting a couple like just monster, like not the biggest skulls, not the biggest paws, not the biggest overall like symmetry, but just weight.
Have you ever cooked with the black bear grease?
Oh, like rendered fat?
it? Have you?
No, but I want to badly. I
heard it's like best thing ever.
Yeah, I didn't save like any fat from the black bears I killed the last couple of times. The spring bears I shot were like healthy, but they didn't have like that ass fat layers that were like crazy thick, like versus like a full like fat blueberry bear, that's like
gotta be so good.
in like October, like that one would probably have like fat chunks. Like I've seen Ranella, he shot a bear
Where it's like the fat's like blue.
Yeah.
like I mean,
the berries?
dude, quite literally, Ranella shot a bear in like I want to say it was like Unit 13 in the Matanuska, and like this thing's fat was like insane. And he like deep fried the meat that night at his camp in the oil.
It's like the chicharron.
He like made deep fried
Bear crackling.
the meat in it, and it was like that just was.
Well,
I'm
there's
just making my mouth water thinking about it, but
There's this couple that I met at this Sornex event in South Carolina, and they specialize in bear hunts. They're Canadian. I think they're in Alberta.
east side, yeah.
But that's what they do. They bait bears. They know bears, and she cooked. So Bert, the owner of Sornex, Bert and his dad shot a big bear with them. It's the Rivets. Their last names are Rivets. And she does all the cooking at this event, and she cooked a ham from Bert's dad's bear, which was like a 500-pound bear. And I'd only had bear twice before that. And this was like literally what convinced me to do a bait station, because the bear I'd had was not good both times. And both people told me, oh, you just never had my bear. That's all.
Yeah.
And it was not good. I was like, ugh, it's like chewy and gross. And she did this she brines it for like 20 hours or something, and then cooked it like all day on a Traeger. And it was like better
This
than
is like
any.
a rear ham.
Yeah. And it was better than any pulled pork I've ever had.
Yep.
I was like, that's bear? I was like, okay, we're hunting bear now.
You guys listen to Meat Eater. You guys, Clay Newcomb, bear grease.
Yeah.
He's got like jars of like aged rendered fat, and then he cooks stuff in it. And he had all those, Meat Eater episodes where he like cooked meat in it. It looks amazing. Like I think it's just dependent on what it's eating,
Yeah.
I mean, those guys
want
are
them eating fish, and you're good, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
And if you can get them when they're just crushing blueberries,
That's what I want. I want a mountain blueberry black bear.
If you get one while you're moose hunting, that's like optimal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or October after moose hunting season, if you can go up and go
we
get
had
one.
opportunity on the moose hunt, but I was down with the COVID.
Or
You saw a big black bear?
Yeah. If we had time, we were already like done moose hunting, and we could have probably.
Oh, you didn't tell me about that.
Yeah, we watched him. We pulled over, watched for a while. He was definitely gettable. We could have went after him and got him, but
was it just like you guys were so beat down that
I was dead?
Yeah.
Oh, because you guys all got COVID on your moose hunt, huh?
Yeah, bad.
That's right.
Bad. All bad.
Dude, I'm so over fucking COVID.
And I was supposed to go on that
if
hunt.
we weren't all sick, we would have just went and got.
We're leaving. The whole family's going to Hawaii next week for like my birthday, and like it was our Christmas present. That's kind of what we started doing with the kids because they're older. Is it's like not
Go on
buying. We're not
vacation.
doing presents. Like we're just gonna go on a
The
trip.
kids get presents every day. Like they're very.
Well, and the dude that I took hunting for moose. It's like he has 2 houses on North Shore. And so he's just like, you guys can just stay there. And he's like, no, your family, you don't pay. And I'm like, Tris, like, we got to pay. Like, I'm not.
I got this bear.
He's like,
I got
no.
this bear oil rendered fat for you.
Oh, he's like the happiest. I mean, dude, he got a 61-inch moose.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's good.
Monster.
He's still eating on that.
He's like,
eating on for like 2
he's
years.
literally like, I don't think the guy could be any happier.
Yeah.
He's so
That was
stoked.
his first Alaskan kill.
His first moose ever. He's been putting in for the moose tag in Montana where his brother lives for like 20 years.
To get a little Shiraz moose.
He's like, I'll never draw it. He's like, I see them when we're elk hunting.
Oh.
And I want one so bad. He's like, I think they're the coolest looking animals. So my wife was like, why don't you just come to Alaska and go with Chad? Can you do that? Can I just do that over the counter? I was like, texting the info. Literally probably had, I don't know, 5 text message exchanges over a year.
That was it.
That's how he rolls.
It's like, I'm coming.
Just need information.
He's
and
like,
I'll be there.
I mean, he literally rolled into my house. He was like, what do I need to bring? I was like, just your clothing and your weapon. He's like, I was like, I have everything else for you. He's like, serious. And that's how he showed up. And he was like, I'm ready to go. And he's like, I'm bringing the coffee though. He's a super coffee snob.
Yeah.
Was he black coffee, no cream coffee snob?
Coffee,
or coffee
honey.
Coffee, honey.
This dude,
No cream, just honey?
this dude is like very interesting.
Okay.
And like literally
How do you know, homie?
what's
his name?
interesting
What's his
story.
name again?
His name is Michael Trisler.
Trisler.
But he goes by Tris.
Yeah, you mentioned that a couple of times. That's his nickname.
So ex-girlfriend Angelina met him while he was up here on a movie. He's a stuntman.
Oh,
So he's filming a movie up here. He met her. My wife and my ex-girlfriend somehow were friends, became friends.
okay.
So they were like, we were going to get married. And she was like, we were going to do it in Hawaii. And she was like, oh, you should just like, my friend has a house there. You guys should check it out. Like he rents it out to like all the surf companies for the surf comps.
For venues, yeah.
It's a huge house. It's right on pipeline, like on the beach. So we were like, okay. I'm like,
Sure.
I was
Sure,
like,
why
I don't know. This seems like a bad. Why are we doing this to Angela? Like, I was like, babe, like,
too close
this
here.
is a little.
What's just
But I was
set
like,
up here? Or what's
I was
going
like,
on?
whatever. Like, hey, it's cool. It's a small town. We should all get along. So literally go to Hawaii.
So true, though.
He's like, yeah, just swing by. So that's how I met him. We rented his house. It's ridiculous. It's like 7,000 square feet, like 7 bedrooms.
Massive
Yeah,
complex.
It's on pipeline. Like there's like a deck that overlooks the greatest surf break on the planet, and there's like cutouts, like bump outs, like 1-person bump outs for cameraman
oh, wow.
to film from.
So they can like have a little perch and just get
so
the right
so everyone
angle.
else can still be on the deck, but they're in front of you.
Yep.
It's insane. But he was I didn't know all this stuff till this trip. So we'd literally met when we like, hey, this is my house. Yeah, definitely we want to rent this. He's like, I'll give you guys like off-season rate. Cool. Then we rented it again for my wife's 40th birthday because it's for the deal he gives it to us for. It's cheaper. It has 7 bedrooms, so you take 7
Oh, you can
couples.
yeah.
It works out to it's cheaper than a hotel room. And you have this ridiculous
This
house
epic
that you
spot.
can like, it has got like Wolf appliance kitchen. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah. It's set up.
So we stayed there. So then we didn't even meet him the second time. And then my wife just happened to be calling him while I was in Afognak, second trip, because Oahu shut down all Airbnb, VRBO.
Yep,
Like they
yep.
banned it
Yeah.
on the island. So my wife called Tris or texted him and was like, hey, my son's going down there and wants to stay on North Shore. Do you have any friends that would rent a room? Like, I know it's all on the DL now because like it's illegal, but he doesn't want to stay at Turtle Bay.
Yeah.
So like how, and Tris was like, yeah, let me ask around. And he's like, what's Chad up to? She's like, oh, he's hunting right now. He's hunting elk on Afognak. And then he was like, oh, the whole moose thing came in. So this trip, like, I finally have like got to meet him.
Okay.
And know his whole
This
story.
is last year when you're.
This year, September.
Well, he came hunting for this, but prior to that, the year before is when he was.
Yeah, in
Hey,
October.
what's Chad up to? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
This
I
is
just
in
like
20 building up to 21.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
got back from Afognak. She was like, hey, Tris is like interested in hunting moose. And I was like, oh, really? Cool. I texted him. I was like, are you serious about this? Because like, here's the dates. We can do toke, where it's any bull for me, 50 inches for you. Like, it's pretty easy. We'll do it. He was like, I'm in. I'll book tickets right now. So he's like, and I'm going to pencil it in so I won't have any movies or anything going on to make sure. And I was like, okay. And that was it for like 6 months. And I would text him and be like, hey, just checking in on you.
Yeah.
Make sure, like, because I'm planning my hunting season around this.
Probably like now, like permits have come out. You're trying to put dates together.
So I'm just making sure. No response for like 2 weeks. Sorry, bro. I was in Portugal. Didn't have cell phone over there. Sorry, bro. Next time, like 2 months later. Sorry, I'm slow getting back to you, but we were sailing a boat from the Caribbean to. He lives in Charleston, South Carolina, and so it's just like up until like literally I picked him up at the airport, and my wife was just like, "Where?" I was like, "He'll just sleep on the couch," because her mom was in town at the same time.
Oh shit!
And she's like, and my wife is not. My wife is the one who, like, if I invite one person over, she's like, you didn't tell me. And like, next thing you know, like, she's coming back from the store and you got a charcuterie board for 20 people. And I'm like, that's how she is. Like,
Dude, I couldn't refuse a sandwich when we went on the hunt.
No, she rolls.
I turn around, she's already with the perfect sandwich. Like, Daniel. And I was like, okay. Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and say, yep. And take that right now on that plate.
Super host.
Okay. Yeah. She
And
just messed around.
she was not comfortable with like, this guy's gonna sleep on our couch. Like, that's that's unacceptable. I'm like,
he rented the house, the 40th birthday.
She's like, he owns a 7,000 like multi-million-dollar house, and like, you're gonna make him sleep on the couch. I'm like, what? You want to sleep on the couch with me, and we'll give him our bed? Like, I don't. What is the options here? She's like, we can just get him a hotel room. I'm like, Jamie, he doesn't like you. I know you're reading into this. He doesn't care. And now that I've met him, like, dude, he is a country boy, redneck, grew up on a farm.
Oh shit.
Was like, thought all of high school, I'm going to be a farmer. Like, that's what I'm going to be. Small town, Midwest, like Ohio or somewhere, like tiny town, farmer, poor. Had one offer for scholarship from West Point for
playing football?
Water polo.
Oh, wow. Of all things.
He was a swimmer. So he goes to West Point. His mom tells him, like, if you ever want to leave this town and you don't want to be a farmer, this is your only way out, because we can't afford to send you to any school. So if this is a scholarship, take it. So he went to, I was like, did you have aspirations in the military? He's like, I was going to be a farmer, Chad. Like, I didn't care. I don't want anything other than that. Goes to West Point, graduates top of his class, captain of the water polo team, Army Ranger, does Army Ranger competitions. I don't know if you remember them in the 90s. Used to be on ESPN.
Blazer.
Oh, yeah. No, that's
Blazer.
That's Gladiator. American Gladiator.
American Gladiator. He probably would have been really good in that competition.
Might have been. So he did that
shit,
3 years.
Man, that was awesome.
Like, it's a big deal, I guess. Like, the military, like, sets you aside, pulls you from your unit. You train specifically for that because you're representing your unit. And it's not just Army Rangers. Like, there's other, like, special
Marines
operations guys that compete. So he took third, then he took second, then he won it. Then he goes on to, like, he's like doing eco challenges, like X Games stuff.
Oh shit!
And he told me, like, he's like, dude, I fell into everything though. Like, it was all just like,
hey, you should do this.
a door opened, and I was like, yeah, I can do that. I was like, well, how did you get into stuntman stuff? He's like,
I need someone to
He's
jump
like,
out this
dude,
plane.
he's like, I was stationed when I was in the Army, when I wasn't deployed, I was stationed in Hawaii. So we did all of our training on North Shore. So in my free time, he was a lifeguard on North Shore and he was into surfing. He won like lifeguard of the year, North Shore.
Sure he did.
White dude.
Yeah. In the lifeguard competition.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he's like,
Hold on, man.
the
Time out.
Baywatch,
What?
dude.
There's like lifeguard competitions?
Well,
yeah,
Baywatch, right?
No, North Shore. Hawaii.
Or-
Hawaii there is, yeah.
Yeah. No,
So you're saying, yeah, like, I don't know.
no, I mean,
it's
my kids,
legitimate.
my kids watch this like show on Disney with the Malibu.
Oh, I know about.
They like do the competition. I mean, why not?
Like, what is entail?
Well, you're mentioning
I don't
Baywatch.
know.
I know.
That's how he got into stunt work. He got a
'cause they're
gig-
filming out there?
No, he got a gig on Baywatch as an actor.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And he's like, I wasn't a very good actor and it didn't get along. Like, those aren't my people. So on set, I wound up hanging out with the stuntman.
Oh,
He's like, a stuntman
because they're not like a primary guy.
couldn't do a stunt, and it was for a double. So you had to look like the actor.
Oh, got it.
So he kind of looked like the actor, and they were like, "Can you dive off this like 50-foot cliff?" And he was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You'll do it." He's like, "Yeah." And so that was his first gig in it, but he didn't really get into it until he said he was on a movie, and he's like, "I thought I was getting fired. Like, I was an actor on this movie, and I thought I was getting fired because like the director and Ben Affleck are like chatting, and they're looking at my way, and they're kind of pointing." And he's like, "I didn't know what I did wrong, but I thought like, well, this gig's over." And then he said that the director came over and was like, "You need to go to hair and makeup. They're going to dye your hair black, but you resemble Ben enough that we're going to use you as his body double because we know you have some stunt experience." And that's how he got into it.
Wow.
And he's like, he said he took his first check to them and he was like, I think there's something wrong with this. And they're like, "No, like, what do you mean?" He's like, "Well, I don't remember being like I was going to get paid that much." And they're like, "Well, you're on the stunt. You're like stunt double now that pays like $2,900 a day." And he was like, "What?" He was like, "Dude, I came from being an Army Ranger making like $1,600 a month."
What else do you need me to jump off of?
And so he just like felt, and then he's like, and then the break I got on another job was because the like lead stuntman slept with the director's girlfriend.
Oh fuck!
And got fired.
Oh,
so they
no.
moved me into like the position of like
Like them badass
stunt
boys?
coordinator.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
So he was like, I don't know. They won like an award for, he was Kevin Costner's double in, you remember the movie about the PJs? The parajumpers? The Coast Guard parajumpers with like Ashton Kutcher.
The Kodiak.
Yeah. It was a based on a
Coast
true
Guard.
story.
Yeah.
The Coast Guard, the Coastie PJs.
Yes. The swimmers.
Or rescue swimmers, not PJs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Rescue swimmers.
Yeah. So he was
brain
Kevin
fart.
Costner's body double on that.
No shit.
And then
They filmed that in the shit too. The Guardian.
Yeah.
Guardian, is that
so
it?
he was
That's
like,
it,
yeah, we were doing all that swimming for real.
Yeah.
And then he was Bradley Cooper's body double for like years.
Wow.
So he did like, was the movie on where all the Navy SEALs got killed? Or no, sorry.
Oh, that one?
He is American Sniper.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So he did a few of those. Yeah, it's crazy story.
So he's
man.
kind of a big.
What's
like,
his name? I got to
you know,
look this
dude?
guy up.
Michael Trisler.
Michael.
Trisler.
So now, like, is he like a hunter? Is it a big game hunter?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a farm boy, so I'm assuming.
He hunts
Look at him. He looks like all those guys you mentioned.
Oh yeah, dude, that's him.
He hunts elk every year and
Oh. Okay. Just
yeah.
doubling up.
That's him. Like he's a little older now than those pics, but that's him.
Right. Huh. Ted.
So he got a big boy out of Toke, you're saying?
Yeah, he did.
Well, yeah. So hold on. He
He's
like
getting a full shoulder mount
so
for his
he-
house in Charleston,
really?
South Carolina. He lives in Charleston now.
Is he like
Dude, those
avid
shoulder
hunter of-
moose mounts are just fucking
Oh,
massive,
dude, it sticks
out like
dude.
4,
It's like
5 feet
this.
off the
dude.
wall.
You
If
gotta
you
have a
look-
huge house for that.
I think his house.
Well, because you got the antlers and then you got the fucking shoulder and the
sure he's
head
got a
and the
spot
whole
for
thing.
it.
He hunts elk every year with his brother. His brother lives in Montana.
Well, those fucking
Okay.
elk are just as huge too, man.
I'm
Those
pretty close.
oof.
He hunts deer. Like, yeah, he's a hunter,
Okay.
gun guy. Like, he's whatever.
Wanted
He
an
brought his
Alaskan
bow.
moose?
He brought his bow, and he's like,
Oh.
I thought it was a bow only. So he wound up shooting my rifle. He's like,
Yeah,
I would have
well-
never fucking brought a bow if
Yeah,
I
your
knew."
rifle's
He's
nice,
like,
though.
I thought you just told me that. I was like, I never told you. You said you were bringing a bow. I just
Yeah,
thought
we
you were a bow
exchanged
hunter.
like 3 text messages,
Yeah.
man. We didn't get a lot of
That
info
was the
exchange. You
That
said
was
bring
it.
your weapon, and he was like, well, I guess I'm bringing my bow.
Dude, super, like, salt of the earth, dude. Kind, ridiculously generous. Like, wouldn't let me pay for any of the processing. Like, it was just, I was like, dude, come on, bro. Like, you're being obnoxious. Almost.
Yeah. Because it's a lot, man. A moose is a lot. And he paid the non-resident fee,
Yeah. $650, $180.
flying
I
it all
think.
back.
Yep.
Dude, he must have like bought a Yeti cooler just to like haul the shit back.
He was trying to Venmo me I shipped him
What does that cost?
meat.
That's actually a very good question.
What?
I wonder. What does it cost to come out of state to get a big moose, take all the meat, most of the meat back
Yeah,
with you,
300-400
the full
pounds.
hide for the shoulder mount, everything.
Well, luckily,
That stayed up here. Well,
my
the-
taxidermist here
Yeah.
was DNC right by your shop.
DNC's got the big Ram, the big black. He's got the Ram pickup with the decals on the side.
Yep.
That's DNC. Okay,
He's literally right by your work.
okay. Is that where he works out of? 'Cause I
He's
see him
one
running
lane.
up-
He's one lane over.
Yeah,
in
I've
that
seen him
little-
pulling out right there,
Yeah.
and he runs up and down Elmo or Abbott all the time too.
So
He must
this-
live up there.
This worked out perfect for Tris because we took it in there, and he was like, I guess he has a shop in Montana too.
Oh,
So he's like,
he's like a real deal.
ship it to
taxidermist,
myself
man.
down
He's
there.
sick.
yeah. So he's like, I can ship. He's like, I just ship Connexes down full of stuff for lower 48 guys, so that way I can ship out of Montana. He's like, so if you can pick it up in Montana or have your brother pick it up because his brother lives there, he's like, I'll get it to Montana for free. So he's lucking out on that, but I don't know, $650 for the moose tag.
Is there a picture of it?
Oh yeah,
Is that on
one
your-
of
it's
one
on
of
your-
the
it's
3
on your
with the
thing?
caribou.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, no, it's
on
yeah,
Instagram.
Scroll up. Yep.
The other
Or
way.
down. My bad. Yeah. Keep going. Keep going.
Man,
Did I miss it? Did we miss it?
I don't think so. Did we?
Is that Chad's?
Did I not put it on there?
I like how Chad
no,
in
yeah,
every
you
picture
did.
Chad throws up the AK.
Always.
Always. No,
No, we didn't pass it yet.
No, it would be at the top if it's there.
Yeah, no, I thought I.
This one?
I mean,
Yeah. I didn't put him in it. I didn't know if he wanted to be on it.
Okay,
oh,
but that's a moose.
okay.
beautiful.
Is that the one where like Wes and the family and everybody
Yeah.
was taking pictures with it? It was a monster.
And that whole thing was kind of like, I felt super bad for that because I told Wes that he was like, where are you going to go? He knew that I was taking Tris. He knows the story about Tris. He knows how I know him. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to do tote because we can do the any bull tag for me. And Wes was like, cool, I'm going to block those dates out. And I didn't really think nothing about it when he said that. And then he was like, starting to get like a month out. He's like, so we need to start planning this. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a shitty conversation. I was like, bro, like, this is a like bucket list hunt for this dude who's paying a lot of money to like fly here, pay for his tag. I was like, I don't really want to ask him if he's cool with like, I was like, you're
Taking a
rolling
backseat
you're rolling your whole family, like children,
Yeah.
young children, which is unbelievable that Wes did that for like 14 days.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it boggles all of our minds.
his kids are great kids. They're
Yeah.
amazing kids. But like,
Yeah, we heard the story. It
dude,
was
I don't
like,
think I could
you
hold
did
it
that?
together as a dad without snapping on
no.
a kid.
Oh,
They
no
were
way.
great. They were unbelievable. And he was like, dude, just give him chores. chop wood. Like, it's all stuff they want to do. It's like, you just keep them busy. They're good. And they were. And I was like, you're a way better dad than me, bro.
Out,
like, on the day-to-day stuff like that.
And he took it one for the team. I think he stayed back.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the time, right?
Sarah
yeah, she got the hunt most of the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it was. So we got a small moose. And then we took that into tote, put it in cold storage. And then we came back.
Oh, that's how that went.
Came back into camp. And so that was when I was like communicating with Wes through the inReach. And he was like, yeah, we're kind of like, he went way past. I was like, dude, just do like the Chicken Ridge area. Like, I get it's like almost road hunting, but if you just go back deeper, like, you'll get past the road hunters, and there's moose back there. Mm-hmm. And it'll be fine for like family and whatnot. But he went like up towards like Eagle. And so where they were, he was like, we can't really glass much. It's like so heavy timber. Mm-hmm. Saw some moose, couldn't call them out.
Enough, and yeah.
So he was like, he was going to pull out of there, and they didn't know what they were going to do. And I was like, I just asked Tris, I was like, hey, I got some friends up here, the family. He was like, dude, tell them to come in. And so he didn't mind at all. And so I gave Wes the directions. Like, he'd been in there before, but it had kind of changed because there were some washouts and stuff.
And he came in with the side-by-side with the family, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They came in that later that night. Like, he was like, well, we're going to just stay the night in chicken and cabin and shower. And I was like, dude, just get here. Just get into camp, and we'll get you a moose. I was like, we'll just do it as, if it's big and over like 50, then Tris gets first right of refusal. Because we're here, and that's how we'll roll with it. Anything else, because you guys can shoot any bull, and he can't, then that's just how we'll play it. If you're cool with that, perfect. Then come in. And Wes was like, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So they came in, and it turned out to be a super experience for all of them. And I think Tris had a blast with them, and seeing those kids out there. Like, I think he really loved.
Yeah.
Like, watching them.
And it was unexpected.
Yeah,
kind of. Like, it wasn't like part of the year buildup of the plan that this family's coming, and yeah. That's cool, man. So it was like spontaneous in a way.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, they had a guy with them that was helping them, and he had to pull out because of a family emergency.
Oh, no shit.
So that kind of put them in a bind because.
Oh, did he come in on a machine too? So he was kind of like
But they could hunt, like, either Sarah and that guy could hunt while Wes watched the kids, or Wes and that guy could hunt. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're hunting solo because one of you is watching those kids.
Oh yeah.
And so once there was just the two of them, they were kind of stuck in that spot. Sarah's not going to go shoot something 2 miles away. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Wes isn't going to go shoot something. And Wes was like on a bad knee too, on top of it. Just retore his ACL.
Shit.
So.
That's right. Damn.
I was like, dude, just come in here.
Yeah.
He just did it.
I know.
He's on it right now.
I was just texted with him the other day. That's rough, dude. ACL is rough. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Knock on the wood. Yep. You should knock on the wood too.
I'm doing it. I felt that knee lock a couple times. Where I was like, ooh.
That's why I stayed snowboarding and didn't go back to skiing for literally that fear.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I won't even snowboard.
I know. I worry about blowing out my knee and then just being like, no, I can't go sheep hunt. I can't
welcome
go
to the club, hunt. Bud.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, you're battling through it.
Yeah, it's just pain, man. You just go until you can't, and then
bone.
Yeah, yeah, bone on bone, and then you just stop, and then you keep going.
But yeah. That's the thing about all
the thing is, like, you get to know your injury. You know what I'm saying, or where you're at.
Limits.
Your limits. That's actually a better word for it.
That's why the whole sheep shape thing is like, it's just such a like, it's not real. Because everyone's is different for a million different reasons. It could be injury. It could just be like, I'm not the person who's going to develop that kind of cardiovascular capacity. Or I'm the guy that can just like, I can go slow and carry a lot of weight, but I can't go super fast through the mountains. Or like all those things are like so relative. So it's like, everyone's sheep shape is different. So like, I just don't even like that term.
Yeah. I call it I just call it mountain shape.
And you can,
because there's different variations of mountain shape. There's like, I got thrust into a Kodiak deer hunt where for like 3 days in like our pack out with deer was like dragging deer down the mountain one night, and it was like the most horrendous experience, one of the most horrendous like game retrieving experiences I've like ever had. I was like, why the fuck did we break these down in like haul them out in backpacks? Like dragging them down was like horrible. And there was like
hanging up on
well,
shit.
just everything was like, it wasn't like mountain shape is like 2-3 days, 4 days, and you like build up to this thing, and like Kodiak's just like straight up 1,000 feet to the top and then straight down, and then like the next day it's like, oh, we're weathered. Okay, the next day is straight up 1,000 feet. It's not like this gradual where you're just like constantly like doing this nomadic hunt where you're just kind of like building yourself up. You're just doing these like extremes and shits and extremes and like, you know what I mean? Like it's like it. I couldn't get into like sheep shape that way because it wasn't consistent.
I think personally, I think like when you're coming from like a perspective where like you have a knee that's an issue in everyday life, like I think that puts you in a better, because I've seen people who are in tremendous shape and they're like, I'm over this.
They're broken.
But you already have that perspective. Like you're already going into it, already hurting and knowing like
limited.
I have this limited capacity. And so like you have already a way stronger mental mindset, that's what breaks people.
I think people
don't break.
No, I think the mindset is the most
I've never seen anyone break physically. I've only seen people just quit.
Yep.
Yeah. That's that's a mental thing.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, you listen to David Goggins talk. I don't know if you guys know who that dude is.
No, of course.
I mean, that guy, like, he'll tell you that there is no physical limit. Like, you're just a quitter.
Yeah,
like,
you're just a quitter, straight up.
Like, you didn't break. You're just a pussy.
Goggins is the Marine that's just the beast of beasts, right?
SEAL, yeah.
But like you said, I go into these hunts where I know I'm going to do a 10-day or 12-day or 6-day long physical hunt, and I go into with the logistics of knowing what my limitations are. And I put that into effect when we're mapping things out. I'm like, I could probably get to at least right here or maybe right here. Or, we can do this, cover this amount of miles. And as we're going.
It's actually really, really sweet.
Well, and you probably set that like probably a little bit more than you really feel you could do. So that way you are done when you get there.
Yeah.
It's not like,
and I feel like on the way in, it's a little short, but when it's like time to be out, I'm like, all right, well. This is going to be the fucking shittiest day of my life this year.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go the whole way and fucking suffer.
No.
Yeah.
But everyone else is suffering. I'm just suffering a little bit more. It's not like I'm the only one suffering.
Sure.
Everyone else is just as fucking tired as me.
We tried to equal it out. So like I said, my buddy Ian, like he broke his, the first elk hunt we went on, he came 9 weeks after a broken femur.
That's the thigh bone.
He doesn't have the muscle back. He doesn't.
9 weeks.
Yeah.
After breaking it.
Super fatigued.
And he was just like, he rode that whole trip on like Percocet, I'm pretty sure. And then second year, he was probably like 60% recovered. So it was like still a lot of atrophy. Didn't have that thigh completely back, but bone definitely healed. And they put a rod in it. So that's why he was able to do it, 9 weeks. Like,
yeah, because it was like structurally it held up.
Structurally, it's there.
Strength
you're just weak
and stamina, it wasn't
and
there.
Pain.
Yeah.
Just dealing with the pain.
It's probably good for it too.
This year, he was like, I'm 98%. I'm good. This thing's good. I've been running. I'm good. So we had that pack out. That was like 10-mile round trip. And when we got that elk, that was we were going to the herd, and the herd bull was a 6x6, like nice monster.
Yeah.
And we were going, and I was kind of trailing behind those guys because we were making high tide on the ridgeline. I was like, I spotted them when we got up top. I was like, they're still there. Let's go. If we're shooting this, we got to go. It was like 9:30 in the morning. I was like, we need to get on them and get this thing dead.
Yeah, because it's dark by what?
Immediately.
7:30, 8 o'clock by then. Yeah. Oh, wait, before 8, because that's past moose hunting season. So it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Right about 8.
Yeah.
Sun was down. You probably still weren't under headlamp till about 8:45.
There it is. Yep.
But I knew we were going to have to like get the meat way this time. And so we were pushing super hard, and then I was kind of lagging behind and just kind of peeking over into little draws that we were passing. And I spotted the elk he wound up shooting. And I was like, dude, there's a satellite bull feeding right here. 200-yard shot.
Not like where we were about to go.
I was like, so I stopped and I was like, I'm not going to influence your decision at all. I'm telling you right now. I will go
right
kill
here.
that big motherfucker if you want. Like, we will do that. I was like, or there's this like little 4x4 right here. Not little, still.
Yeah, still 800-pound animal, right?
Yeah. And Nate was like, we're here for meat. I'm going to shoot that one.
Sweet.
And I was like, are you sure? Because we can go get that. We got time. And he was like, nah, let's just take the sure thing, because what if we get there and we blow him out? He's like, this is 200 yards right now. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I dig it, man.
And then we packed. So that second day, we went back for the meat. I told Nate, I was like, how we had the packages. I was like, got a hind quarter, front quarter, tons of neck meat. Back straps are massive on those things. All that. We took all those, and I was like, we're going to have to do this in 2 trips. So someone should take a front quarter and like some meat tonight. Someone should take the other stuff. Then come back tomorrow, and we'll just have 3 bags
Big ass
and
chunks.
the head.
Yep.
Well, they didn't listen to what I said. So we came back the next day, and there's 4 bags, 3 dudes plus the head. So I was like, well, I put the 2 front quarters together and then the hind quarter. And I was like,
That's about right.
So I was like, Ian, I'll let you pick. You pick what you want in your bag.
Did he go and pick it up first?
He did.
Both
So
of
he picked up the 2 front quarters.
Which you can pick up by yourself and be like, okay.
He picked up the 2 together,
nice and
and he was
flat
like,
too,
fuck,
right?
that's pretty heavy, dude. And then he picked up the hind
yeah,
quarter,
that's
and he was
crazy.
like, man, I think the hind quarter might be lighter. And then he was like, what do you think? And Nate picked it up, and Nate was like, no, dude, the 2 front quarters is definitely lighter. So he was like, I'll take these 2. I was like, okay. So I took hind quarter.
2
Nate took a hind quarter.
shoulders, dude?
When we came out, Ian was dying when we got to the cabin. Like, he was wrecked.
That's like 120 pounds at least.
And like
No, more than that.
once my bag's
than
on,
that.
no, it was 101.
Oh,
Jeez.
felt like 140.
It was 101. They had a digital scale at that cabin, and Ian was all about weighing shit.
Oh, okay.
Because he wanted to know. He was
After the
like,
fact?
this is over 100 pounds. I fucking hate both of you. And I was like, it's going to be real close.
His
dude.
ended up being the lightest or the most?
It was over mine. And I let him pick. Nate's was like 130 because he had the head
Oh, because he had the
and a hind quarter. He had a hind quarter and the head.
Just,
But that's Nate.
just euroed out with no flesh and head on
Nate'll
it, right?
do that. Oh, I didn't. Well, I've told you about Nate before, and like,
Oh, yeah.
he'll
Push
go
it
too
to the
hard.
limit and throw up.
So the
and,
day that
yeah.
we shot the elk, I was like, we got to get up
Baby
top
is
as fast as possible. So every day we were there, I was leading.
He's a
till that-
paramedic, right?
Till that day, yeah.
Yeah.
Firefighter, paramedic.
Hardcore.
So he's just like, whew. And I'm like, all right, I see what you're doing.
okay.
I was like, there goes the hair. And Ian's like, fucking he always does that, huh? I was like, he's trying to set the pace. And I was like, I have my pace. That's what we're going to do.
Right.
I was like, when he has to rest, I'll just walk by him. I was like, I'm not doing what he's doing. I know where this leads. I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get that elk.
Get there within like 5 minutes of
Hey,
each
that
other
sounds very
otherwise.
familiar, actually.
We get that elk. We come
Actually,
out.
Clip a lot.
So
keep it moving.
so
Clipping.
I told you there was like, we're in this deep valley, and then we're 2 valleys over where we shot it. So we walk this ridge line, and then it drops down, and then it comes back up. But it's ridge lines that line the lake, and then this is a valley that goes down to
So
the
it's
ocean.
it's like a saddle. It's like just kind of like
Yeah, but with a ridge. So I walk down
just
this
have to
ridge.
climb up and
That ridge is the way we came in.
the game trail, right?
So I'm in front on the way out because Nate murdered himself on the way in. So I'm in front, and I'm like, I'm making pace because I'm like, it's gonna be dark.
Yeah, you got.
And I do not want to do this under headlamp.
No.
Like, I don't want to do this under headlamp.
Not with Yogi cruising around. And
so I start going up that other ridge once I hit the bottom, and I'm up like, a couple 100 feet above them. They're still in the bottom. And Nate's like, hey, he's yelling. And I'm like, what's up? I'm like, dude, we got to make pace. Like, we're going to run out of time. I don't want to do this under headlamp. He's like, we're going to go a different route. And I'm like, what?
Whoa.
I'm like, your rules, bro. We don't split up. Like, those are your rules. So I'm like, what? Why? He's like, we're just going to go a different route. And he was going to go up this. There was another ridge. So this bowl kind of turns. And so they were going to go up this other ridge. Thought it would be shorter because I was going to have to go up this way and then down.
Got it.
They were going to cut it off. He's like, we'll just meet you at the saddle.
Also following a game trail?
No.
Ooh. See.
So he told me. He told me what happened was they're in the bottom, and Ian was like, I don't have any water left. Nate didn't have any water left. I was like,
you know what that feels like, don't you?
I was like, yeah. That day I didn't fill up all the way.
No,
I will never make that mistake again.
I know.
And
you
on
won't.
this trip, that's what they did. Because in the morning they wanted to roll
They want to
light.
save weight. Yeah.
So they
I'm
went,
like, dude, not on water.
They went
Oh, man.
1 liter of water, and I had 3. I was like, well,
Yes.
dude, I had 3. Like, you guys could have just caught back up to me. I would have gave you all my water. Like, I was good.
Chug on mine, yeah.
So anyway, so this whole time I'm motherfucking them I'm like, dude, really? Like, you split up now? Like, I can't even
Anything
see
can
you.
happen,
You're
man.
out of sight. I have no idea where you are.
Can't
I have
backtrack.
no vision of you.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I just get to the saddle and I'm waiting 45 minutes.
Oh, God.
No.
And I'm like, now we're
Watching the sun just dropping.
I was like, now we're going to be in the dark no matter what. And I almost left because I was like, I don't even know where they are. They could be below me.
Yeah, or past.
Because I got to go this saddle down. So Nate shows up first, and he rolls up, and he was just like, I don't do this often, but I just want to apologize. I'm real sorry. Like, I fucked up. I should have never split up.
Yeah. Pride and ego just
he's like,
set
we
to the
needed
side.
water. I made a mistake. He's like, I'm sure you're pissed. I was like, yeah, dude, we were about to have a fucking really shitty conversation. I was like, but I accept your apology. Let's fucking
Let's
go.
get out of here. Yeah.
And we're in the dark in headlamps, and I'm just like,
Fuck, dude.
and it sucked. And I got a video of that shit where I'm just like, this is real fun, Nate. But we got back to the cabin.
Just digging into the ground all the way.
We got back to the cabin, and he was
Just one more time.
smoked, cramping, vomiting.
Nate was?
Oh yeah, throwing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, no water. The
Cramp, was freezing, couldn't get in and out of his sleeping bag. Something would every time he moved, something would cramp.
Oh, shit.
I like boiled up a bunch of bone broth, gave him that. That's the only thing he keep down. Then he was good, but yeah, it was like one of those.
Shit, then
cases
you had to
where-
nurse his ass to health?
Well, he's like, yeah.
Well,
dude. He's like, we
it's
went.
yes or no. You did, didn't you?
Well, I gave him that bone broth. I didn't nurse him. He's
Well, when you making your boy some bone
You didn't
broth,
nestle him up right up to the nip.
no.
you weren't like, come here.
He would
Come on
have
in
kicked.
here,
He would
son.
have
Just
kicked.
rubbing-
He would have kicked me off.
just rubbing his
He
head
was
and shit like
cramping.
it's going to be okay, Nate.
No, I didn't do anything.
I
know what it's
need
like
to meet
be-
Nate really bad because, like, I've heard all these stories. He sounds like a bad mofo.
He's-
Because he just pushes himself. So
Well, that
He
goes
is a
goes
bad
with the mental limit. Like, it's more important because you'll run your body until you're throwing up and you're cramping and you can't even fucking move.
he's lucky he's got a hunting partner like you.
When I
actually.
said I'm lucky I have him actually, but
Goes both ways.
when I said that I've never seen anyone physically break, but I've seen people mentally break, I guess I'm kind of lying about that because I've never seen like Nate physically quit, but I have seen him. I've seen that. I've seen when someone pushes too hard.
Yeah.
But mentally, that dude will never mentally quit.
Well, after the finish
He would-
line, his body
he would
fell
die.
apart,
He
or
would
not
die.
fell apart, but it's like he had some.
Yeah.
And
we had to go the next day to retrieve the meat. And I was like, bro, are you going to be okay to go tomorrow? He's
Yeah,
like,
let me give it some sleep.
he's like, I'll be fine. but I might need some of that weed.
Hey man, don't underestimate.
He can't.
Don't underestimate
the greenery.
the greenery on the
they
trip,
can't
man.
smoke,
I'm telling
dude.
you guys, man. It just
can't
helps
smoke. Is that
when
what-
you're hurting.
who's-
Yeah, no,
this
go
is-
ahead.
Yeah,
This is
it's old
Sherlock.
man, dude.
Yeah, that's the Sherlock, baby. That's what I call that. That's the old man.
Is that the button?
Yeah. Never seen that?
No.
I'm surprised no one has. Everyone I
Man,
meet
you're
never
like the
seen.
only one that has that cool shit. You know what, man?
You could put this in a sock and beat someone to death, bro. This
dude.
thing has got some
So I've
weight,
been
too.
doing just
Hit
the
that, it's
cheap,
fucking beautiful.
the cheap.
Just hit that as like it's the button.
Yeah.
No, you got hit it like hit it. No, you don't want it.
I'm not that every day.
that's
I
nice.
gotta like go easy.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing just like the pin with the cartridge.
Yeah.
And it's exposed. I drop it, it breaks. Dude,
And I've had this thing
I'm
for a
like
couple
hundreds
years.
of dollars down. Like I'm like, dude.
So is that a cartridge in there?
Yeah.
That thing is pretty dope.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
The old man.
The old man.
It works really good in the wind.
Shark works. Yeah, it works great.
Yeah.
You charge
The
it right
battery's
there.
really good too.
That
Lasts
thing is
forever.
awesome.
Yeah.
Who sells that in a store?
I got it at Enlighten a couple years ago before Treehouse opened. Shout out to the Treehouse, AK. Look at it, 341 Boniface. They must not. I don't know if they don't make
Farms.
these anymore.
That thing
Actually,
is awesome.
actually, the first person I did see, I got to give a shout out to
Pretty
Sydney
classy.
from AKO Farms. Was the first person that ever saw it. I was like, "What the fuck is that? And where do you get it?" And I bought it. I bought
Naturally
my brother
coming from
one
the-
for.
They're
Concentrate.
only
Yeah.
make concentrates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
they know that game.
Hamilton Devices. It's called the Shark. I want to say by Hamilton
Should be called
Devices.
the Sherlock.
The Sherlock, yeah. It's
The
just
old
the old
man.
man. You just be
Yeah.
out there
That
like
thing
no one
is
knows what's
awesome,
going on.
dude.
At the
If it
hot
was
dogs.
like corn cob, it'd be even cooler.
oh, the color.
just like a corn cob
Just some
pipe.
Huck
Like
Finn.
old
Yeah.
school corn
Old
cob.
Huck
Yeah.
Finn up in here.
Yeah.
Call that Huck too.
That thing is awesome though.
It is.
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like when you pull that out when like in a smoking circle, it's like the scene in Inglourious Bastards. You know?
Yeah.
Where the dude's like the farmer's got his little pipe.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, do you mind if I smoke?" And he
He
pulls
pulls
out
out
like
the
this giant ivory, super dope pipe. That's you. Everyone else is like, "Oh, you got vape?" Like,
Oh, yeah,
and
I
you're
got
like,
this.
"Oh yeah."
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this passed a lot of COVID
This is
around.
what the educated people use.
Yeah.
That thing is awesome.
What I think the coolest thing is the weight of it. You're just like, this thing is got
It's
some
super
weight to it.
balanced too.
That's what I'm saying, dude. You could literally put that in your sock and beat someone to death.
Chad, is that Aaron right there in the picture?
That's Nate.
Or Nate, my
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, Nate. Damn, and he's got like
Oh, sorry.
is that day one where the meat
That's
or
on the
no,
last
the
day.
sec- Last
that's
day.
second day.
Second day.
That's
Last
like
day with the head
130
out.
right there. But you know why he could carry that? Because you see what brand pack he's got.
Oh yeah.
He's got
Yeah,
that.
that's brand
Kifaru.
new. First
I want to
time
talk
he
about
used it.
that Stone
Oh, that's
Glacier.
the Kifaru one.
First time he used it.
Man, dude, you got me sold on that. I
Ian
want
was
that
in
back.
his Kuyu pack, hating life. Because Nate let him borrow that.
Oh,
Man,
'Cause-
yeah.
and the way it was swaying
sorry.
and loose.
They make
and
some good
just
stuff,
like-
but not the pack.
Oh, their clothing's money.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
pack.
I think
they're
they're
so-
probably making the best clothing out. I mean,
like
Sitka's
pound
up
for
there.
pound, yeah.
Well, we
price.
talked about the pants, and I asked you, and I still rock the tack pants. I think they're the best.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to beat. I wish they had like a slightly quieter line. Like I wish they just had like a merino wool line that was like kind of like.
Is that what the Canis ones are?
They're not merino, but they are like a ripstop, just like cotton nylon. I mean, probably not cotton. They're probably polyester, but they are quiet.
cotton,
They're like cotton.
Yeah.
That's pretty good gear, man. It
And
performed well. on
They
the
might.
shape
I
one.
mean, maybe they are merino. I don't know. I'd have to look up that.
That's pretty rare.
But
to
I
see
mean,
a
I have
merino
some, like-
outer layer main.
Well,
pant.
that's my favorite pant is it's whatchamacallit, Meteor brand.
First Light.
Yeah, and they make a merino pant.
They do the
Paper
pant?
thin. It's my favorite pant. Other than those guys really need to like get a better tailor for like their fit type stuff. That Canis stuff fits money, but it's like a hunting guy working with a mountaineering guy. So it's like real athletic fit,
Yeah.
which is like no bulk. That's my only problem with First Light. That, and they do have a little bit of the quality's not as high as like a kuyu.
Yeah. First
about,
Light's like a square body, big Western, like white boy
I
hunter,
disagree.
dude.
I kind of disagree with that. I have their thickest long john. I mean, I don't know, that's what I call them. The
Yeah, but
thickest
that's
like
a
thermal,
skin,
dude.
It's like a skin tight.
It is a
item,
skin tight, but it's like thick and it's really nice. And I have those one pants that are more for summer. They're not. I would never take them.
Oh,
on
those
a sheep
fit you
hunt.
nice, yeah.
Those
are
fit me nice, and those are fit well.
You're a tall guy though, you know, like
Yeah,
you're
so
not,
for like a
pant
lanky
is that
cat.
though?
Man.
Because the merino ones is like
They're not
it's
the
kinda
merino-
like
they're
this
definitely not
adjustable
merino.
waistband
the
type
merinos
thing.
like look like some old man gear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they're awesome.
yeah.
They have like
No, it's
they got
great
a couple
shit,
things on
dude.
them that I love, and it's like you can roll them up, and then there's like at the knee there's a little button so you can
Yeah.
have
So it's
them
like
keep
shorts.
them rolled up.
Yeah.
and that's like and they're paper thin, and that's
Yeah,
what
they
I want in
breathe really
sheep
good.
gear because like I just start cold and you know you're gonna sweat.
You don't think you're gonna burp a hole in those things? Sliding down.
That was my problem. Is I blew them out, and then they made a little bit better version.
Oh,
now.
okay.
Yeah.
So I
I
think,
think that merino is just too. It's too.
Yeah, all my merinos ripped.
too thin. Like even the underwear rip when you scratching your butt. You know what I'm saying? When you're wearing those merinos.
Ooh.
Just so
Is that-
everyone
that
knows.
hard dig?
aggressive there, bro.
Hey man, for years, if you use them for a few years, you never
You
know.
need some powder in there or something.
Hey, you go
He
on a
does take
12
baby
day.
powder.
12 day, you don't get a little.
Man. Yeah,
itch.
these guys get fully medicated.
No,
The
we
gold-
fucked
the
up, man.
gold
That's a
bond?
funny story. We normally bring baby powder, and then like on the second or third year, I went to get the powder, or actually Cisco went to get the powder, and he got the medicated gold bond, dude. That has like a, I don't
Like
know,
a menthol-y.
menthol.
Well, and he's got to powder up like daily.
Dude, I
yeah,
did that.
because he's just a
He
hoss,
rubs,
and you
he
just get the
rubs.
full powder, and you're not used to that medicated, dude.
Oh man, you know, dude. So I
can
didn't
smell 'em for,
This is a
like,
product
miles,
this is
dude.
a
I'm
product
like, bro,
that
there
you
ain't
guys
no
wouldn't know
mammals.
about because it's not your world, and I didn't until I like did this bike ride. But like cycling, they have these glide sticks. That's what you want. You don't want powder.
Like a roll-on?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
called
shit.
glide, and so you like it's
Makes
for your like taint because when you're cycling, you're on that seat, dude.
Yeah,
Oh
you're
man,
rubbing
dude,
hard,
it gets so
yeah.
fucking.
So-
oh man,
Now that we're
Really?
getting
So you want it-
really
you want-
personal about
So
that.
it's like
so it's the
stick.
opposite. It's
Yes.
not like powder dry it. It's
Oh,
more
you
like
want
keep it
glide.
slick.
Yeah. So it's like this glide stick. Dude, it worked money on. I did that, whatever, clean air challenge.
You gotta
thing.
shave first, or
I don't know if you need to shave.
apply it to skin. They need to
I don't
sponsor
know if
us
you
because,
shave.
dude, I need to
Shave
get
might
down on
be
that.
a real bad idea.
Yeah, that'd be way too
That
much.
could be. That might be
extra
like
friction.
by day 4. Things might be going
I
bad.
started rocking these new Sitka boxers, and I like them. But the last couple hunts last year, I had some weird like chafing.
yeah.
Now that we're
The
getting
chafing,
now that we're
dude.
getting all personal about it.
Yeah.
But this is real. This is just like I changed up
Underwire
my I
is one of the
changed
most
up
important
my
things
base.
on a hunt.
Okay, so I went from straight smart wool boxers. I bring
Yeah.
2 on a sheep hunt,
Nope.
3 on a moose hunt, and I'll swap them out. And I did pretty good with those. First Light has some kick ass merino
Yeah.
long thigh
Just dig them right out.
yeah full dig.
Yeah, I don't go with the merino on that layer.
Okay, so these ones are polyester.
Yeah.
These Sitka ones, and they're like super comfortable. Every pant goes over them just right. Base layers go over them just right. But somewhere down the line, they like lift and ride and rub in a certain spot
See,
in my crotch, and I don't notice it for like days until I'm just like, oh shit,
till it's too late.
it's too late. Now I'm medicated, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? I didn't notice any of this until too late. Like,
See, you got to go, like, I go Under Armour, compression, and in 9-inch. So the long ones. Then they don't ride, and you have the compression, so your legs aren't getting hammered when you're going downhill.
they stink though.
Synthetics.
Oh,
And what?
they're money. They're not that bad.
They're like odor protected.
They're not.
They're
that
not. They're not like a merino.
So I have
But-
I have exactly what he's talking about. That almost has like a padded hip. It's almost like for like
like slide
athletic.
pants,
Yeah,
like baseball.
but they're long. They go down to almost like my knee. So when I put my like knee high merino wool sock on that goes like to the base of my knee, the
Yeah.
full shin, then I put those boxers on. All this exposes my kneecap, but it is like it feels like the ultimate base layer because I have full compression
Yeah.
all the way down to my knee.
Compression, I think, is super key.
Yep. And then I have compression from the top of my calf all the way down to my Achilles. So I'm like, boom, dude. I'm like fully, and those damn boxers don't rub.
Yeah.
So I like bought 4 pairs of these Sitka boxers, and they are so day to day, day in and day out. Oh my God, best like
I'm
underwear
gonna have to
ever.
try it because I've been still.
But the chafing in the
switching it
field
up.
though was just weird, and like it
been on
snuck up
Under
on me,
Armour.
and I was kind of just like, damn, if I didn't have the stuff to deal with this.
Yeah.
well,
I
then you
learned
don't need
that
the
hard
stuff
the
to
wrong-
deal with it, right? If
I don't
bring,
have
No,
any-
you
I don't
bring
have
the-
no stuff for that.
you don't bring the medicated Gold Bond.
Oh no, I've never.
I
used
have,
Gold Bond.
I
I had a bad experience with some icy hot though when I was a teenager.
So what I bring though, Chad,
Pulled a
is
hammy and my dad was like, "Put some of this on
Oh
there."
yeah, no,
just
no.
Without, no warning.
Yeah.
Way too
All
close
sweaty.
to the nads. And I was like,
Ooh, in the, oh no.
"Good joke, Dad.
man.
Super
No,
funny."
bag balm. The little green
Oh, yeah,
canister.
that's right. You-
Tiny little green canister, man.
Yeah,
It's perfect for like blisters, chapped lips, windburn, like just any kind of weird like skin chafing, irritation, even like a thorn or just something like an injury. Like it just you want to put some
I
balm on
bring
it.
like Neosporin. That's about all I got. I
Okay,
think.
well it's kind of a similar a petroleum,
Yeah,
you
something
know,
to, like-
type like gel. But I found that and then you seen it. That can's like not huge.
I use it for something.
Yeah, I gave it to you for
Probably the chafage.
no, you had a thing with your foot.
I don't even bring moleskin
Stop.
anymore. Like I just have I just bring a roll of Luka tape. And as soon as like I don't even like wait if I feel, and I never really have foot
I hear a
stuff.
lot of people say that. I don't wait. As soon as you feel it, as soon as you feel the burn,
if
I
it's
stop.
hot this year, so this year we
And
did
then 2 miles later,
one day because it was like I was like,
Yeah.
that's pretty easy hiking. So I wore like muck boots.
oh god!
Oh my god, dude.
Back my first Caribou, I was
I had a blister. I had a blister developing. I don't ever get blisters on my feet ever, but I had a blister developing. So I was like, well, here's the time. Like you got to like stop talking because I was never the guy that got blisters. So I was always the guy that was like, as soon as you feel it,
and it's always that guy.
stop right there.
And it was hot for like 15 minutes, and you're
Remember
like, oh
fucking
shit.
Cisco, dude?
Because Aaron would be like, no, I don't want
Oh,
to stop
man.
right now. And I'm like, bro, handle it now or
Yeah.
it's going to be unhandleable later. And he would be like, no,
It's
no.
the
It's so hard to
The
follow
truth
that
of the truth.
that advice, man.
Well, I followed my advice on this.
Yeah,
trip, though.
good.
And I just,
What was the tape you called it?
It's called Luka tape.
Luka tape.
Tape.
If you have a blister, do not put it on because it is like glue.
It'll like
Oh, you
tear
just
your
you just
flesh all up.
preempt.
Like once it's on,
You preempt
like
your
you pretty
spots
much
where you
just
know.
leave it on until it falls off. Like you don't pull
Like
it
you
off.
leave it on the whole hunt almost.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Once you put it on, it's
All the
paper
foot shit
thin.
I've ever put on stays on for days.
This is paper thin,
Yeah.
and it just has like a super gnarly adhesive. So if you put it over a blister,
So it's just a little
it's gonna
barrier.
tear that entire blister
when you
off.
come
when you
Right,
pull it
right,
off.
right. Because it's so,
So you
soft.
don't want
and
it. Yeah, you don't want it. So like it's
it's
definitely
like
before.
I'm getting hot. I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna put this on.
Yeah. If you got the blister, then you need moleskin. You got to go that
yeah,
route
yeah, for full protection.
with the little donut.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude. It's a
But you
fine
got to
line
just
with that
like
shit.
That's why whenever people are like, so I'm gonna get into like any hunting, I'm like, dude, just spend the money on boots and spend the money on your backpack. Everything else you can build up. Optics, buy what you can afford, for sure. If you like hunting and you stay in it, you're gonna need way better optics eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But you can be a successful hunter with shitty cheap optics.
I think
out
you
the
should
gate.
start with shitty cheap.
But
options.
you
Yeah,
will,
that's me.
you
I
will,
don't have good
you
ones,
will
yeah.
hate hunting instantly if you have crappy boots.
Oh man.
Oh, it'll
crappy
like
pack.
never want to do it again. Like
Never.
it'll just I'll be like, nah.
You're like, this was miserable.
And when you find the boots, just keep getting those same boots.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's always a nice, cool fucking. Look at these
Oh, I
cool
did
fucking.
that.
Yeah, I'm on to like boot 4 here.
Oh, yeah.
everyone
My
was
next
telling me
round,
how
I'm like,
awesome
fuck, dude.
Crispies were, so I bought a pair.
No.
Like they're so comfortable. I was like,
And
yeah.
they are.
I was like, I remember when I got Nike running shoes because everyone was like, they're so comfortable. I was like, not to run in.
They look
Crispy
fresh,
boots,
but
not to hike in.
Yeah, they're good to
People
go to
love
work.
them. I did not like them for sheep.
no.
They were not
Oh,
stable
by the
enough.
exact
They
same.
let me down.
Scarpers.
They let me down. Hands down.
I think
Scarpers
you're
are
still.
money.
I think you're. That's what you rock.
I did, and they don't make the model that I had. I had like this ice climbing model that was super lightweight. So I just switched this year to Hanwags.
No, that's right. You're
Those
saying
hand
that.
lines are sick. Yeah.
I really like them.
Yeah.
Didn't break them in.
I saw them on the hunt. They were,
This went, and they're
I
they're
was
pretty
like, wow.
money.
I was like,
Yeah.
you didn't
Great.
actually hiking them at all?
Those actually hand wags that you showed me are really similar to those Scarpas I have.
Yeah, they're similar.
Yeah.
They're not as light. Scarpers are. That's what's so awesome about Scarpers, man. They weigh like tennis shoes.
Yeah.
If you get the full synthetic ones,
Yeah, Crispies
they
are
are
light
like-
too.
yeah, they're full leather though.
The problem with the Crispies is they like kind of like fall apart. Like they
That's what it
can't
seems like.
they can't like handle the ruggedness of the mountain. Like man, can they handle the ruggedness of
Side hills.
like side
Exactly.
That's what.
I'm thinking like I don't know, man. Big game, big western big game hunting, mule deer, elk. Like not saying any of that. Like sagebrush hillsides aren't like rugged and hardcore. I'm sure they all have their like really really challenging and like gnarly areas. But like when you're just doing like 17 miles of rugged like side hilling on shale and rocks and just like basically rock razor blades.
yeah.
It's like a lot of boots are gonna fall apart.
It's
So
di-
it's
yeah,
all
it's-
good,
that's
but
a
just
whole
Crispy's
different-
just definitely like in one hunt it was like, dang dude, that's 2 hunts. I'm like, yeah, these boots
That's
are
crazy.
clapped. Like they were
yeah, mine were
done.
smoked after one sheep hunt.
smoked. I was like, whoa, damn.
And it was like our easiest sheep hunt. We were camped on top of a plateau, like literally flat. That was when we got.
You know, they don't bake those boots, huh?
I don't know.
I don't know why, because they do that with hockey skates. Like when you go buy some brand new fucking $1,000 fucking hockey skates,
Baseball
dude,
mitt.
what they do now
Ski
is
boots.
they've been doing it, but yeah, exactly.
Put
And,
it
and
in
they'll
it,
heat
and
them
then
up,
they heat 'em
Moldable
bake them,
liner.
put them on, and then they wrap them in saran wrap really tight so they just fit right to your foot.
Yeah.
And then you're never gonna get any kind of. I mean, I'm not going to say never, but
Yeah.
they don't do that
No.
with hunting boots. They should.
Or even mountaineering boots. No. There's.
I wonder why. Would they say they're going to break down or something? But these other
Yeah. I don't
Skates
know,
and all that
mink oil,
shit's
you
kinda
throw
the
Yeah,
them
but
in the
they're made of some
200-degree
different
oven.
shit. Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. That's a good point.
Throw them on
Be
the
a cool-
Traeger. Get a good smoky smell on them.
pine
Yeah.
is coming in smelling like the woods.
Exactly. Perfect. Alder. Burn some alder on.
Fuck,
Some
we all
alder,
look like
whatever
humans
your destination may
Smell
be.
like the woods all flanneled up today? Was this we all call each other and decide we're going to wear to school or what?
You don't have to call me. I'm pretty much in a flannel. right
yeah,
now.
man.
Same
eight
here.
out of 10 of my shirts are flannel.
Unless it's summer, and I'm just in a
Dude,
t-shirt.
I've been living in a base layer, pants and shirt climb.
You know what
what
you
I
don't
was
see
telling
is
him.
flannel
Fucking-
t-shirts.
There you go. $1 million idea,
Oh,
dude.
hey,
I'd wear
huh?
one.
Yeah,
wear
I bet you would.
I mean,
bet
they
all of
got
us
the
would.
Shit,
they got the tuxedo T-shirt.
The
Why
flannel
not have the
t-shirt?
flannel
Oh,
T-shirt?
Damn.
Flannel tee. And it's
Break
flannel
it-
material too.
Just breaking barriers.
All thick.
You need to call Patagonia on that right now.
No. We just started ourselves.
That's right. AWP. Swag.
Flannel T-shirts, dude. That would be great.
The Caribou
Never
call.
seen it. The caribou call on the
back.
flannel and the flannel t-shirt, dude. You're all the way in. You said earlier about the water filtration. Your boy was going to drink from that, and he said he got sick. Do you do the pills or you do the SteriPen?
I have a little pump that I bought this year, but I do use the SteriPen.
Yeah.
I don't really use anything most of the time, but moose. I bought the filter. No, yeah, I bought it for the moose hunt and then I took it on the elk hunt and we used it.
The SteriPen or
No,
the pump,
little pump filter.
the little life straw looking thing.
Yeah, it's
How does that work? You suck it out and then it pumps back through.
yeah,
clean
it's like
into
charcoal.
whatever?
Charcoal. It's a charcoal filter inside of it, dude. It is a
Sounds like a lot of work.
painful process. It is so slow.
Yeah,
It pumps both ways, like on both strokes of the little pump thing, but it's coming through a tiny straw that has a little filter for debris on the bottom of it, and then it goes through a charcoal filter. And the water is like amazing that comes out of it for sure. I just have a little MSR one, so it like connects to your MSR bags or like your platypus. It'll just screw right on to the platypus.
okay.
So you just like
Right into it.
Yeah, but it is like, I mean, it takes like 30 minutes to fill a 3-liter platypus.
The SteriPen is. Did you say you got that now?
That's what I use.
That's what I got when me and Jack went on this hunt. That we're going to a new area. I didn't know, and I was like, man, I've been wanting to just test one of these out.
Yeah, I bought it years ago, and I just leave it in my. It's pretty much in my like possibles kit in my backpack, which is like all my like if shit goes sideways, everything in there is for that, you know, and that never leaves my backpack. And I have it in that. I've actually personally never used it. Ian was like, I don't know, are we sure this water's good on a sheep hunt? And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm definitely sure. But if you are uncomfortable, I have this steri pen.
Yeah.
And it's like hit the button once for 16 ounces, hit the button twice for 32 ounce Nalgene's.
That's what I got.
And he used it.
And then I got the, I mean, we do a lot of rafting and all that stuff when we go on the moose hunts and on those. They have the big, the catted, and it's like a dry bag.
And then you hang it.
And then you hang
gravity
it,
feed.
and then it feeds into whatever.
They had that.
It's badass,
that's
dude.
way better.
Like when the pandemic first hit, I just went and bought one of those.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, everyone's buying all the water and all the shit. I'm going to go buy fucking 2 of these things.
Yeah.
And that works awesome on the Golcana or
anywhere. Because you just like, you do it and then you just like put it away and let it hang and forget about it.
Yeah, and it flows. It'll flow like that entire, like 3 gallons in like, you know,
pretty fast. Yeah.
20 minutes.
About as fast as the pump, but not having to do the work. It's like
Without
same
pumping.
thing. Yeah,
It's just
same
one
thing.
scoop.
Yeah.
But they sell different sizes of them.
Yeah, I need to get one of those.
And they roll up to nothing, dude.
That would be way better for this whole island trip shit that we did on Afognak, because that we were like the water we were getting was But the year before, like Nate and I just drank straight out of the lake, which we didn't know had like nasty.
Well, that's like a good one for the lake if you bring that catted in, because you go on a Golcana or you go on where we went on our moose and it's all just beaver fucking heaven.
Yeah.
You fucking better have something. And
I haven't
that's
been
fully
sick
tested, and this
ever,
water is like murky, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this fucking
That's,
actually works.
you're gonna get sick drinking that shit.
Yeah, you would 100% sick. And that's all you. And you're out there for 10 days. Like you want something that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do not want to get giardia on your hunt.
No.
I mean, it usually won't even kick in till later, but
hopefully you're out of there.
How's that? How that works? It's like a later on thing.
yeah, it takes a minute, I think. Unless you've had it before, then I think it's faster.
Okay.
Because Dave, the 2 dudes that got it from where Tris was drinking, where I was warning him about it, they that's in tow. I think it's the Denison, maybe. I think it's part of the Denison River, Creek River. But Dave got it out of there 2 years prior to that. So he's had it twice.
Yeah, I would
And
never
I think
drink.
the second time it was way worse. He actually had to go to the hospital.
Oh, like
and-
flown out?
No,
God,
they
he was
they
able
came
to
back.
drive-
They just went for like 4 days.
Oh, okay,
on
and
the
then when he got
on the
home,
early
he
hunt.
got sick.
Then he got sick when they both got sick.
Oh shit!
Both the guys were on the trip, drank out of that. They were using a filter, and the filter
what?
was torn. They didn't know.
Oh shit!
So they thought they were filtering water, because Dave was like, definitely can't drink out of this. I got giardia 2 years ago. So they thought they were filtering, but the filter
And
was.
then got it again.
And then he got it again, and this time it was way worse for him
What
than
the
Scott,
hell,
who
dude?
it was his first time getting it. So I think once you have it, like it gets worse if you
Yeah,
get it again.
it's like it's in you forever.
Yeah. Well, I think we all carry it. That's why some people don't even get it.
Oh, really?
Like some people don't even get giardia.
Shit.
Like, I mean, you probably grew up in a third world country. You probably drink out of a mud puddle like a dog.
Dude,
and you
yeah,
don't do
yeah,
shit.
you're good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your gut biome's like ridiculous.
Right. Okay, that's a good point.
But us little wussy Americans.
Just especially Alaskans.
But I've never
cleanest.
gotten it in my life.
Yeah, knock on the
And I
wood.
drank the same water that Tris did on this trip. I mean, I didn't dip my cup in the river directly.
Did you boil it at least?
No.
Or did you get it from a higher source?
I filled
somewhere?
in a tributary that was dumping into that.
Okay, that's different.
I drank that water. He's the only one that drank directly out of there. He didn't get sick.
Wow. Just immune to it, like.
I don't know.
I mean, like in theory, you really don't want to drink any fresh water in like moose country. It's not high enough. I mean, some areas are good.
Well,
I mean,
it's a lot of stagnant, and there's
Yeah,
definitely
that's what I'm saying.
beavers.
Like-
Yeah, I don't know.
even if there isn't, I mean, it's just like there's just a lot of like contamination, natural contamination in the water itself.
Most of the time you're moose hunting, you probably brought water in.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
anything
like,
you're using, you're
Jesus
boiling. It's like
Christ.
you're cooking with it.
Yeah.
So it's just your cooking
Right,
water, so you
right.
don't ever worry about it.
Yeah. I mean, I boiled gallons of water per day out of a lake built by beavers in an area where we moose hunted.
Yeah.
And it was our water source.
And you're fine.
And I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to make it my mission day in and day out. I'm going to boil in our downtime. I'm going to boil like 2 gallons of water.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let it get to temperature. So every day I just cycled this water through, and we did not drink that water in terms of like filling up my Nalgene, but that was our coffee water.
Yeah.
And then we had water that we drank like out of like bottled water, and then we burned
You
the
probably
bottles.
would have been fine though.
I think so. I mean,
If
yeah.
you're filtering it. Or
When
you're
we boiled
boiling
it, it still kind of was like cloudy and just like murky looking, just because it had like the actual shit in it. But
Scott's pump, when we were on that Denison River, I think he has like more like the catadine that you're talking about, where it's like it's just a filter. So it's making sure that you don't have any like bacteria in there.
Contaminants. Yep.
And that's why that's probably a little faster than that MSR one I have, because that has your pre-screen, whatever microns you need to go down to knock out all the bad stuff. But then that charcoal filter is what removes all the color and taste. So when we stayed in Toke, he would go down and use that filter. It was pretty fast. He could fill a little 5-gallon can pretty fast, but that water still had like a brown tint to it, just like the river.
Yeah.
And then the river that we were getting water out of in Afognak had that tint to it. But when you ran it through that MSR filter with that charcoal, it was
clear?
gin clear. And you had tasted like,
Yeah, I got rid of all that stuff.
yeah,
A little bit more.
I think that charcoal filter is just like, that's what slows it down. Because it's harder to force that water through that than just a little micron.
And it's just holding all that shit back.
Yeah.
All the clean water gets through.
Yeah, and the dirtier the water you run through it, it probably starts clogging up that
Sure. It takes
charcoal,
forever.
carbon, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's pretty sharp.
Yeah, I don't know. I run those. I have those little things of pills always though, because it's like this big.
Yeah, it's just
So
in
I
the pack
carry
that you
them
have
just
all the
as
shit
like,
with it.
this is like,
I never
if I have
tasted
to
water
use
in
these,
there. Yeah.
fucking, I've already hit my inReach button probably. But I'm
still
gonna
carry
have them.
'em.
I'm
You
gonna
still
have
got 'em.
I
them.
always carry them too.
Yeah, they don't weigh anything. They're tiny. They're just there. I hope they don't go bad because they've probably been in my bag for 6 years, maybe.
I think they have a shelf life.
They do, but it's like 10 years,
Yeah, it's got to be like
something like that.
I've got the original set from when we went to up in the
Me
Kenai
too.
Mountains.
Yeah.
And I heard
I've
it like
used them
has
a
a
few
horrible
times.
taste. Oh, you have?
Well, no, that's why you have the other one that like takes away the
Yeah,
taste.
now they
and
have
shit.
the third
Yeah.
one. That
Is
has
there a third one now?
No, wasn't it 2 bottles before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now it's like 3 because the one makes it taste good.
Oh, I
Gets
didn't
rid
know
of that
that.
because one's like iodine, right?
Yeah, one's iodine, then one's like to make it taste. I thought
flatten
take
it out.
away the
Okay.
iodine.
Oh, I thought you needed the
No,
third.
you need
for the
3
taste.
boosters, bro. 3 boosters.
So, I don't even want. Do
Get
not.
boosted.
Let's not start on that stuff.
Get fully boosted?
That's yeah.
What are you are you trying to go back to Afognak next year? Hopefully someone draws.
I put in. Nate put in. Ian put in. The funny story about that is when we got back to my house, and Ian's he lives in Oregon in the summers and Mexico in the winters. So he's usually quick turnaround. Like he flies in the day before we go out, and he flies out the day after we get out. So he's like get back to family. And he was leaving this last time, and he was wrecked on that 100-pound load.
Oh, yeah. Like he was feeling it for like
He
a
was
week
wrecked.
later.
He was wrecked. And he, I guess my wife was like, when we dropped him off at the airport, or I dropped him off at the airport and I came home, she was like, so I guess you guys won't be hunting Afognak anymore. And I was like, what? Why? What do you mean? She's like, Ian said he's never fucking doing that again. And then I was
didn't
like,
tell me that.
I was like, yeah, well, we're only one day out of Kodiak. I was like, just give it a minute.
Yeah.
I was like, I guarantee you I will get an email in the beginning of December. So which one do I put in for? And sure enough, I got that email. I was like, that a boy. He's like, and then he even came back with I think we could have got that bigger bull.
Yeah, we should have went to that fourth valley.
He's like, I
We should
feel,
have done this in 3-day pack out.
he's like, I feel like we could go further. That's how I felt about it. Like when Nate asked me about it, I was like,
you guys knew, right?
I was like, I don't know. I kind of regret pointing that bull out to you. I was like, you and Ian walked by it. You would never saw it. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, dude, you would have a monster on your wall if we'd have walked past that bull.
Then you would have never wanted to come back.
You would have sealed the deal.
I would have, because it would have been his monster.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go to his house for dinner and look at that thing and be like, wish I had one of those. Like, I'll be going back.
I need one for
Even
me.
if I had to go by myself, I'd be going back.
Fuck, dude.
Oh, the solo Afognak, dude.
No, I would
That's
never
insane.
I would never do that.
Well, I think
I was telling Brandon because we were talking about it. I was like, man, you need at least 3 guys.
yeah, man. He like I
feel like 3 is perfect because you can do that whole thing in 2 days, no problem. Like, that's 2 loads.
Yeah.
It's 2 heavy loads, but it's 2 loads. And it wouldn't have needed, like, Ian's didn't need to be that. What should have happened, how I had it
because
planned.
of day 1 you didn't take enough out.
Someone didn't. It wasn't me. Mine was heavy as shit. But it doesn't matter. But my plan was that 2 dudes were going to carry hind quarters and 1 guy was going to carry front quarter in the head. Mm-hmm. That would be evened up.
Then at that point, it's like, man,
But
we'll all 3 go back for
They carried a hind quarter and a full head, dude.
on the second day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that picture.
That's why he was like, best backpack fucking ever. And he does not like to part with money. He's like very smart with his money.
He's frugal and doesn't want to spend a lot on.
It's not that he's frugal. He's just smart with his money.
Okay,
Like, I don't want to make him sound cheap because he's definitely not cheap.
right.
Like, he buys,
when he wants,
he'll buy
like, this
expensive
certain gear.
shit, but it's like certain stuff. Like, he has to know, it's got to be worth it. And so for him to like spend that on a Kifaru pack, because that is like pretty painful button to hit.
Which pack is that?
He got the straight jacket. But I mean, it's $700, $800.
Is that the full bag and frame combo, or like you buy it
that's
separately?
everything. No, you buy it separately.
So it's like 2 or 3 pieces.
What?
Is that the pack you have?
No, it's similar.
Where like butterflies?
It's like yes, but it's a better version of my pack. So it's the same as
More
my pack as
capacity?
far as the sides. Like, those pockets are the same, but it has a shelf that's a full.
Meat load.
Well, it'll hold whatever you put in the middle, and it's also like it's molly, so you can put as many accessories on it as you want.
Oh, you can hang.
Well, it's right
stuff.
there in the picture, right?
Yeah. So that's the same as mine, minus I don't have that big panel.
In the middle.
So
Oh,
that panel secures the load. Like,
Gotcha.
I have what's
It-
their
it
attachment.
goes-
It's called a grab it.
it goes vertical
but
and
it's
then
not
straps
as
on
good
the
as
side.
that.
Okay,
So that's
yeah.
what I would buy if I didn't have my pack.
I could see why, because now you can just load the shit out of the middle, and it can go out.
Yeah, you
side to
can
side.
fit whatever you
Whatever
want.
you
And it's
want.
like huge.
Yeah,
You fit a 25-gallon drum in there if you want.
sure, because it'll wrap around it.
Yeah, it's pretty money. Their stuff is
It'll
like
carry more than you want to.
It looks like you can almost put like a roll top seal. What's those badass dry bags? The seal.
that's what
lines?
you put in the middle.
Yeah, you
That's
can
why I
just,
love
like-
that bag.
Yeah, you can just like put your whole shit in that.
Because my whole, like, I have their version of a roll top, which is not a dry bag, but you can just get a dry bag. Mine is like, it's called their camp bag. So it's a roll top,
yeah,
but it's not, it'll keep your stuff dry, but it's not as,
No.
like, it's not dry bag dry.
yeah, you put a cover on.
And then it hangs in the middle.
Yeah.
And so, like, and that's called the camp bag because, like, your tent, sleeping bag, food, stove, all that stuff's in that. And then when I get, you've seen it.
Yeah,
And when I get there,
separates and
you
then-
pull that off, and then I have a day pack. That
Yeah, and
carries,
everything's
like,
on the
all
side.
my optics.
And then you got all the room
Yeah.
in the middle for hauling the animal
Man,
out. Yeah,
Brandon,
it's
you need a
fucking-
new pack, man.
No,
I think this is the year for you to pull the trigger on that.
One I want right there. I want to go with that Kifaru.
I just love those because, like, you can condense any pack down, even the ones that are just like huge 7,000 cubic inch bags.
yeah.
But they still like get flappy and whatever. And that
Yeah,
thing is
that's
literally
mine.
like a day pack on me when we're
Oh,
like,
it's so tight.
we're just
and snug.
hunting. It's just like,
and you got the optic, like really
spotting
fast
scope
access.
on one side,
yes.
rain gear and all my other stuff on the other side, kill kit, game bags, all that. And then the guide lid like has my insulation, like all my puffy.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
everything was like puffies were on in 47 seconds.
Oh, that's my thing.
Optics
man.
were out in 22 seconds. Like everything was out so fast, and I'm just like, Chad's sitting there waiting for me while I'm like fucking packing my shit up and cinching my straps down, and I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, I'm like, I'm not doing it slow.
No.
I'm just like, I gotta go through all this, and I'm like, fuck, I didn't know any different.
I just have
You know?
those super simple routines, and
like
the puppy
the Kuyus
is like my
were
move.
similar because like it had the compartments.
Yeah.
So you could like open the Kuyu pack, so it was like fast. But your setup at the Kifaru was like, man, like you're able to just do everything with such quickness.
And those packs like will secure a load to where like
Right.
there's
we
no
we hauled the sheep out.
There's no
and
load
one
sheep.
sheep for 2 guys is still pretty heavy.
Yeah.
We were like 75 pounds coming out
I'm
each
sure.
or more maybe. And it was like, damn, like you just were able to go in super light and haul. I think you hauled maybe the majority of the weight of the meat.
Well, you had the head, so I took like 2 quarters.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was, well, we had to get it out either way.
And you had a rifle. I mean, you had.
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's just
heavy.
I saw a lot of fucking mass in that pack.
The downhills.
Yeah, I was like,
like,
damn, man. That
going
like
down.
from what it looked like for day pack mode to now hauling sheep out mode, and you got your bow and your giant scope.
Yeah.
Your scope's not like the little rinky dinky.
No, it's 85 millimeter.
Dude, it's like as big as the shaft on this damn podcast. It's so huge. I'm like, wow,
Dude,
man, you haul that thing?
Yeah,
but it's
it
the
will
make or break, dude.
Save you
Oh
miles
my
of
God.
walking,
Yeah,
bro.
it will, man.
It'll save you miles of walking.
Yeah, it was money. It was money.
I mean, if I could afford a 105 millimeter Swarovski, I would have that. I would have it, and and if people made fun of me for the weight, I don't care.
So I wanted to
cut your toothbrush in half and do all your.
You just haul this
I
giant.
don't do that, dude.
He's like, I have a telescope.
I got a heavy tank. I got a heavy sleeping bag. I got heavy optics.
That's right.
I don't care about that.
Did you take your scope on your mule deer hunt?
I did.
Okay.
But the dude had a BTX Swarovski.
Oh, shit.
Like 95 millimeter.
So did it stay in the truck then?
I used it like once or twice, but no.
Oh, so you were still packing it around just out of spite? Like, I'm still bringing my scope.
Dude, bro, you want me to tell you what that hunt is?
Well, I broke the ice. I broke the ice. I was like, well, you went mule deer hunting. We talked about it.
Alaska.
We were both.
You're driving around in a truck.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
It's like what you see
I'm
on
not
TV.
gonna sugarcoat it.
Okay.
Lie. It is how
I mean, that's
describe
okay,
It's
too. I mean, I'm not-
It's Eureka, but you're not in a side by side. You could be in a side by side. Probably should be in a side by side. These dudes have their like this guy's truck was F-150 lifted on like 35s, and he rhino lined the entire truck, so you can just like
through
drive
brush
through.
and
Well,
just-
the desert. There ain't no brush. All that
oh.
shit's thorns. So if you had paint, it's ruined in 2 turns. So he was just like rhino line. He didn't care. He mobbed that
So
thing.
it's a hunt
267,000 miles on it. I was like, he drove it like the Razor. I was like, dude, we're probably missing a lot of stuff. Like you're hauling ass on like, it's like Eureka roads, like washed out. It's all like, so it's all
High desert.
state trust land is what they call it. So it's public land. It's got barbed wire fences throughout it, and there's gates, and you go. Anyone can use it. You go through the gates. You have to open and shut the gate, and so people have cattle on it.
Oh,
So people can put their cattle on. So there's some watering holes,
okay.
watering tanks for cattle, obviously deer, and go
They
there
all
too.
use it, yeah.
So it's a lot of that. So every day it was all in a truck, dude. It was weird to me.
Yeah.
And they can use electronics.
Oh, wow.
That was the
Like they can communicate, hey, there's deer over here.
that was the part I did. Yeah. So how they're approaching it is we're gonna find deer, and then I'm gonna go with a plan, and then when I get to wherever, he's gonna sit in optics and watch me, and he's gonna walk me in on it. And I don't really like that. Because it messes up my routine.
Did you get to shoot it with your bow?
I didn't shoot shit. I blew 2 stocks.
But it was full bow.
Yeah. Archery, and is not a sheep or a moose.
You knew it though. You knew like this was going to be
When
really
you're
challenging.
made, they're gone. Jump straight up, gone. None of that. I mean, I've stared down sheep and shot that sheep numerous times.
Yeah.
They're jumpy.
That deer, no. Those mule deer, they were gone.
To catch any movement, it's like pew.
they catch movement. They're like
and
slightly.
they're hunted, right? They kind of know.
Yeah, this wasn't super pressured, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it was I don't know, it was a different experience. I mean, I'm glad I did it, and I learned a lot. And now I know I could go down there by myself and do it. Like I can just get that over the counter tag and rent a side by side or rent a car, and just like you didn't have to go where we went on these roads.
Yeah, there's other places
You could go and
hike
just,
in a little bit or something.
just glass from one area until you find. I mean, we put this kid. There was another guide, and it was he had a son and a dad from Texas. They were super cool, and like I said, the guy I was supposed to go with is like the owner of the company. He got COVID.
Yep.
So he kind of had to get a backup plan for me. This was a dude that was a local dude. And he was a young dude. He was cool. Super fun to hang out with. But rowdy.
The F-150.
Ready to fight.
Oh.
Like used to do some MMA stuff.
Oh, shit.
I mean, he got hits hard written on his knuckles.
Yeah.
Like,
but
but like he knew his shit. But there was a lot of him and the other guy didn't know each other. They were with that group. Their communication was a little bit
choppy,
not great, I guess. The only way I could put it. There was a point where like the guy I was with, he had to go get some tooth stuff done. So like at like 8 at night. So he left me with the other guy and I rode back to camp with the other guy. The other guy was telling me how he was like pissed because we were like in on their deer that day. When we were in on a like glassy knob, we found them, and but the glassy knob, the other guy had sent us a pin, and that's where we went. So we thought he gave us this glassy knob. Like, okay, cool. Well, then he was like, it turns out he was kind of pissed that we were there, even though we walked them in on a like big, like 200-inch buck. That was like, and they just made a slightly bad decision. Not a wrong decision. It was they got stuck on a little island knob, and they had to make a decision. Like the deer were coming their way, and they had the wind till the deer got past them, and they had to make a decision where the deer going to go on the left side, on the front of them or the back of them. They chose the front, so they sat on the front. Deer went on the back.
Oh shit!
Deer got past them, sending them.
And they weren't able to see this from where they were at.
They were able to see it. The guide was able to see it, but he had his clients frozen.
Oh,
and then when he got the kid up to move to draw, because they were in range,
busted them.
He let them go by, but they got busted because then he got scented. So, but we guided him in on that. But anyway, that night I drove home with him, and he was kind of like getting snappy about the other guide, and I was like, dude, well, one, like this isn't on me. Like I don't know why you're telling me this.
Yeah,
like, this is your guys' communication issue, and you're telling me like this isn't how this company works, and like what, and they're both like, you know, I shoot the biggest deer. I shoot the biggest deer. I shoot the biggest deer. I take 120-yard bow shots. And one dude is like, they're both really good at finding deer.
Sure.
Like they would spot stuff where I was like, what? Like naked eye, and I'm in binos, cannot find the deer. He's like right there. Like they just, it's relative to like what we have here, because you know what you're looking for. It's like something different. Like you don't actually see a moose. You just see something that is out of place.
Right.
And they pick that up there. And those animals are like gray. Everything's gray. So
right.
It's like,
and it's high desert. It's just different landscape you're not used to seeing. Yep.
And so they're both good at that, but they're both super cocky. It's fine. I mean, clients
confident. Yeah.
Clients probably love that shit.
Eat that shit. Yeah.
But I was just like, dude, you guys got to figure it out. Like, I don't know what to tell you. He's like, well, I gave him a pin to where we saw a good buck that was 5 miles away from us, so you guys wouldn't be on top of us. Like, I've been trying to. I was like, well, okay. One, you have a super dry sense of humor, neither of us can tell if you're like telling the truth or not. Because you're like, yeah, we seen a 180 buck, a 190 buck, and a 210 buck. And those are all huge bucks. And like you're saying you've seen them in the same area. We don't even know whether to believe you. You won't even tell us really where you're at. You're like saying you're in this area and you're not. And I was like, and I will tell you right now that the pin you sent him is the pin we went to, because he showed it to me. I held the phone while we were driving there.
Oh, yeah.
On Onyx. And it was the glassing hill. And he's like, he looks at his phone. He's like, oh, shit, sent him the wrong pin. But you guys should have known better. And I was like, well, listen. I was like, here's the deal. We found your deer. It was nowhere near where you said it was. You said it's 400 yards away from you guys. It was like a mile.
That's
like,
crazy. You
it
can
pushed
communicate
out.
like that.
And so like, yeah, because we could call them because they're allowed to use those.
Yeah,
Which is
right.
It was crazy to me.
Yeah.
So, and my guide was like, well, I don't think that's the deer they're talking about. And I was like, okay. And he's like, so what do you want to do? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I think you should go after it. And I was like, no. I'm like, even if it's not the deer they're talking about, it's literally on the ridge line that they're on. Like, I'm not going to go hunt that out from under. I wouldn't do that if I didn't know them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't do that publicly in Alaska. I was like, no. He's like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like,
Oh, wait.
call him and walk them in.
Yeah.
I'll happily watch that kid shoot that monster buck.
Yeah.
Like, it'll change that kid's life. Like, do that. He's like, you're sure? You'll give that deer up? I'm like, I'm not giving anything up. One, it's their deer.
Yeah.
But yeah. And so we did that. And then they wound up, didn't work out for them. But I mean, they were within 30 feet of those deer, and dad and son were like stoked.
Yeah.
So the next day we came back, and we went to a different area, found a buck and 2 bucks in the morning, but both of them went like into heavy timber, lost them. And those guys had gone back to that same glassing knob, and someone else was on it before they got there. And he went up and talked to the guy and was like, hey, just letting you know, we've been on this for like 4 days. And like, so do you mind if we glass from here too? And the guy was like, nah, man, I think you guys should leave because we'd like some space. And so he was like, shit. And so,
Wow.
So they left the whole area. And later that day, my guide was like, what do you think about going over to that glassing knob? And I was like, well, I thought someone was on it. That's why they bailed out of there. And I was like, but you should call them first and make sure they're not there. So he called them. They weren't. He was like, they were like, yeah, go there. I was like, but wasn't someone on it? He's like, dude, they won't sit on it all day. They'll sit on it in the morning, then they'll go for like 5 hours. They'll come back at like 3:30.
And
he's
won't
like,
be there.
He's like, so we get there at 1:30. So we did that. Immediately when we got there, he got on the Swarovski spotting scope, and I just got my binos, and I was like, dude, that monster buck is right there, and he's pushing does up the ridge right now. Same exact thing he did when they blew it. I was like, I'm going. He's like, all right, I'll walk you in. He's like, keep your phone on you, but on silent. So it's like 2 miles.
So you
across.
could text
You
with
could text
him?
each other.
Yeah, or call.
Wow.
So he would literally call me every like fucking 10 seconds.
Left.
Yeah, but I didn't like it
Yeah, no.
because it doesn't work unless if you and the
Yeah.
dude are like homies and you just
Okay.
know each other,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then you could do. And
You've done it so many
I knew it
times.
was going to be an issue because when we were spotting, do you know how when you have someone like
Gonna
you're
describe
spotting,
where
you're
you're
like,
looking.
I got something, and they're horrible at describing how to get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're in 2 different areas.
That's how we were on the
Oh, no.
spotting. So I was like, there's no way he's going to be able to walk me in on something. So anyway,
Because you can't see what he's trying to tell you, and like,
well,
you
I
don't
went,
know the area.
No.
Right?
Well, even how
I mean,
you
it's
even
all
how
pretty-
you describe
Yeah. Yeah.
between
There's so
this
many variables
area
that
and
can
that area.
affect
Yeah.
the understanding and
Do you
communication
see,
of that
like,
process.
he wasn't, like, he could spot deer in the middle, like, if there's a gray backboard, he could spot a deer on it. Like, he was incredible at spotting deer, but like walking me in on something, he'd be like, you know, that ridge, just follow that ridge. And I'm like, There's 5 ridges. Like the furthest one, the one closest.
Yeah.
No, closer to us. Oh, no, not the closest. Like, you're killing me. So I set out across, and I was like going as fast as I could, but it was like it looks flat. And it's
you're
like
up and down.
30-foot like cut banks from like washouts and like crazy everything. Cows out there. Everything has got thorns on it, dude. Yeah, cattle. Everything has thorns on it. Jackrabbits busting up everywhere. Like, I'm like, I don't know. Is there fucking snakes? There's like spiders and scorpions. Like, don't. I was like, I'm gonna not pay attention. But everything has
wearing
thorns.
Gators and
No.
just
wearing Solomon
Muck
running
boots.
shoes. Nope, Solomon running shoes. Not even boots.
oh shit,
It's too
Because you're right from the truck.
it's too
And
hot.
it's so easy. You're in the truck and it's all like, it's not rocky.
And
I'm
you
like
just have
getting,
your gun,
I'm getting
right?
close
You're
to
like
the
a
ridge.
pack or nothing.
No, just my bow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even have a pack. Just my bow.
Yep.
So light as possible.
Yeah.
Hauling ass across, get almost across. And he's like, where are you? I can't find you in the scope. And I was like, dude, I'm down in the trees. Like, you won't see me until I get up on the ridge. He's like, well, they already pushed over the back of the ridge. And I was like, where at? He's like, that exact same spot that they busted over when they got busted. And I was like, that must be their area where they cross over. He's like, I'm pretty sure they're going to that water tank on the other side. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to hit the ridge and I'll just glass that water tank. I glassed the water tank. Didn't see any movement. Didn't see no movement around there. So I'm just watching, sitting. He calls me and he's like, dude, there's another buck by itself down below you. So he's like, walk in on it. So he's like, all right, there's a ridge right in front of you. You see the little ridge right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, just over that ridge, 30 yards down, it's eating. I was like, okay. So shoes off, socks, creeping. I'm like, dude, I don't see it. He's like, no, you're not to that ridge yet. I'm like,
Oh no.
no, I'm on the ridge. But he's literally 2 miles away. So this looks like this. And he's like, I was like, well, what? Like, dude, there's no other
You weren't
ridge
even close yet.
right in front of me. I was like, the next ridge is like 800 yards. And he's like, what? He's like, okay, well, the ridge I'm talking about has a little bush on it. I'm like, that's the one 800 yards away. He's like, well, go to it. He's like, just haul ass to it. And when you go up,
800 yards in your socks?
no, I put my shoes on.
Oh, okay, you were able to go
on,
back.
on.
Okay, I'm
Fuck
like,
yeah,
fuck,
dude. No, I
dude.
went about 100 yards in my socks. And wasn't happy with that.
No.
So I was like,
It's fucking scorpion.
he's like, just come straight up where that bush is. And I was like, dude, on my side, that's a 40-foot cliff cut bank. He's like, oh, I can't see that from here. Like, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
I was like, I can't go up there. I was like, so you got to let me know what that deer is doing. So I go, bust through there. It's just like no trail, gnarly, like
thorny
shit. Brush. I'm just like getting cut up. I'm like, but I'm just like, all right,
Yeah,
we're going to
you're
get this
dedicated.
buck.
Mm-hmm.
So pushing through, get to that where I can like go up as close to the bush as I can, but still like 100 yards to the right. I'm making my way to that bush, and he like texts me. He's like, dude, he's right below you, bedded down. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is dead deer. Like, we're good.
Yep, it's happening.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to come over the top and I'm going to range it. And he's like, okay.
I just don't envision you like carrying your bone like on your phone. Like,
Dude, it was weird.
this.
It was weird. And honestly, I think it seems like it'd be easier, but it makes it more difficult.
Sounds distracting.
Because now he's pushed me in directions to where I'd be completely out of sight. And my approach would have been like, I would have came to here where I could see it. And then I would have came to here where I could see
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Then I would have figured out the wind and got on the good side of the wind. And I had good wind, cranking wind. I had really good wind.
Right at your face, just
Right in my face. Came over that ridge. And I'm like, okay. So he's like right below the bush, 50 yards at the most, bedded down. I'm like, okay. I come over, have my rangefinder out, I set my bow down, and I'm squatting up a little bit, and like just to get over some brush. And all of a sudden, dude, we're like locked eyes. And I'm like,
Oh.
it's bedded down uphill which he didn't mention. Kind of a key factor. So we're locked eyes, and I'm like, and I have a baseball hat on, so I was like, just threw it down to where like it can't see my eyes, but I'm just like watching it, and I'm frozen. And I've done that. Tons of animals, and you're fine. I know he doesn't have wind.
Just wait him out.
So I'm good.
Yeah, he just sees movement.
Got to
so
calm him
he's not
down.
sure.
He has no idea. You can't tell I'm a predator. You can't see my eyes. So I'm just like, I'll just wait him out. So I waited him out. It was like 15 minutes, just standing still.
Eternity.
And I'm just like, and he finally turns his head off me. So I just like backed out super slow, grab my bow. I'm like, okay, I'm going to back out. I'm just going to let it settle. And then I'm going to call him. I'll get a different approach, but I'll give it like 15 minutes. Plenty of light left. And then he calls me and he's like, he's leaving.
No.
So I like peek over and he's just like, he ain't running. He's just walking out of there, but he's gone. And I'm like, shit. Well, maybe he'll stop. So I watch him, but he was like,
Just pushed.
Gone.
I was like, well, I'm here, so I'm going to go to that watering hole. And he's like, okay, well, it has that big windmill on it, so I'll come around that way, save you the 2-mile walk back. I was like, yeah, much better idea. So I went over to this watering hole, and this was another thing, like now I know, like lots of learning on this trip for sure.
Yeah.
So I got to this,
hunting.
it's like a 10,000 gallon water tank above ground and a windmill that pumps. And then there's like a super nice, like concrete, like watering hole for like cattle.
Everything, yeah.
Well, this is built for cattle for sure. Mm-hmm. So I was like, man, there's zero cover here. Like, I was like, I'll sit here till dark and see if any deer come in, but I have zero cover. So I like climbed up this windmill, and the top was like a little 2-foot, like little thing to stand on at the windmill part, but not really to sit, and it bolts through it. And I was like, I put my feet inside the windmill, and I was like, well, if I lock my legs, like I could lean out and I could draw when I lean out. So I was like, it can make this happen if the thing's in one spot. So I was sitting up there, and he was calling me. He was like, I'm coming in on a road. Can you see my headlights or hear me? I was like, no, dude, I don't hear anything. And then he's like, I can see the windmill. Can you see me? I see his headlights. And I'm like looking around this whole time, and I see that there's like a road leaving, like he's coming in from behind me. And the windmill's here and the tank's here. There's a trench that's dug in a circle around the whole area, and then it meets and it leaves on this like road. It's like a rutted out road. And I was like, that's weird that they dug this trench in a circle. Couldn't really figure out why. Didn't think anything of it. He pulls in back over here. He's like, can you see my headlights? I was like, yeah, I see you. He's like, well, where are you? I was like, I'm at the windmill. And he's like, well, I don't see you. And I was like, on the windmill. He's like, what? He's like, hold on. He's like, I still don't see you. I'm like, I'm behind the fans at the top of the windmill. He's like, holy shit, dude, is that your legs? He's like, what are you thinking? Like, get up. Like, dude, do not fall. I was like, bro, I'm not going to fall, man. Give me a break. But he's like, okay. He's like, so he's up there. He's like, I'll glass all around and tell you if anything's coming in. And then he tells me, he's like, dude, over to your right. So I'm facing this way. He's like, over to your right. He's like, is there a road down there? I was like, yeah. He's like, is it going to your right? I was like, yeah. He's like, get off that windmill, follow that road to your right. There's another watering hole that's just mud. He's like, and there's 5 bucks. As soon as you see horns, fucking shoot one. He's like, we're in the last hour. This is last day. So I start walking over there, and now I realize, like, this trench is because when they come and unstrap that windmill, they leave.
The water
fills that 10,000 gallon tank. Maybe it fills it fast. Maybe they don't come back for a couple days. All the overflow goes in this trench, down this road, and into a low spot and causes this pond. Deer haven't been coming to this watering hole. They've been going to that one. And that one's got trees.
It's like more of a natural
cypress trees all around it.
Yep.
So if I would have just went there, the big buck would have been there. And
versus the man-made.
So I told him, I was like, so I was like, did you know this? He's like, yeah, he told me there was a watering hole up here and he thought that the deer were going there. And I was like, so why was no one like put in a blind sitting in this watering hole every morning and every night for the last 4 days? He's like, that's definitely what we should have done. I was like, he's like, but I didn't really know what was here. He's like, but he did. And I was like, and he had 2 clients. Like one should have been with him and they should have been alternating sitting in that hole every single day. And one of them would have got a massive deer.
Muley. Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, now I know this area. And now I know everything
Daniel
about
and Brandon,
this area.
You want to go down and get him.
And now I know I don't need any help. And this is over the counter. So we can definitely go do that.
That's pretty cool.
And you could literally stay in a hotel room every night if you wanted.
Right.
Oh, man.
I mean, a motel room.
Oh.
So you're in like
The motel.
Benson, Arizona. Which I guarantee
shit.
you've never heard of.
Oh, no.
For sure. Sounded fun, man. Like you told me all about the build up to it, and I'm like, man, I'm put in for a New Mexico elk and a Utah mule deer,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Dude, it'll be
I have
Sounds
no
like
idea
lots of
about the
learn.
over the counter shit, and the truck hunt, the whole thing.
Well, I think a lot of it is that. And I didn't get to hunt their area. Those guys, like these guys that are
There's a
based.
backup plan.
Yeah. Because Fish and Game closed down all but like 3 units in the whole state for mule deer.
Mm-hmm.
So their area wasn't open. They have they're in like northern Arizona.
Yeah, some like really, really premium hunt areas.
Yeah, and they have like a super built up camp. Like it's like permanent structures.
Oh, wow.
Camp chef. Like they're doing it up. And they're like, you'll be on 4 or 5 stalks a day.
Wow.
Because we'll be on mule deer everywhere.
Right.
And I've heard a couple of people go in there that have hunted with them. Like Aaron Snyder was hunting with them like the week after I was there.
Yep.
He was coming down. So they were saving. He knew of a big 200-inch deer that he was saving. He was like, the guide was like, he was cool, but he was quirky.
Yeah.
The other guide.
Right.
He is
the one you didn't know what his sense of humor was.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, because I'm going out and I guess this guy owns Kifaru, so I'm like taking him out, but I don't really like their packs. And I was like, hold on, bro. I was like, I understand what you're saying. Like, you want to wear Levi's and your Carhartt sweatshirt, and you're not that guy that's going to wear, because I know that they're sponsored by Sitka and they want you and say, he's like, yeah, all this Sitka and I won't wear it. And I was like, dude, I understand what you're coming from. I was like, but that's clothing that you're talking shit about? I'm like, that's like fashion, basically.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Somewhat.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's utilitarian, but it's fashion, a lot of it. I was like, I'm going to fucking put a line in the sand when you start talking shit about Kifaru packs. I was like, because you're just like, to say that they suck, you're full of shit.
Yeah, you ever done a mountain hunt?
I was like, I carried a whole camp and a whole sheep in this Kifaru pack of mine. I would never do it again, but I did it.
But it works.
Yeah,
and
it'll do it.
Without that pack, there's no way I could have done it. And I'm sure there's a couple packs out there that are equal to that. Stone Glaciers, I'm sure, are great, and some of those Barney packs can carry a shit ton of weight.
Oh, yeah,
probably get a little more load shift on them because they're external frame like that. But still, I was like, we got to draw the line, bro. He was like, well, you know what I'm saying, though. I was like, yeah, I get what you're saying. But you're also like, I mean, you can't.
You're a high desert hunter in your blue jeans and your F-150. Like, you're not.
Well, and you can't say, like, I'm above all this, like, swag and, like, high-end gear, but then you're also willing to take a 120-yard shot at a freaking speed goat. Like, I mean, you're trying to be like, I'm ethical here, but then, I can hit 120 all day. Like, all day? Like, all day?
Every time?
Like, all day? Like, I mean, all day seems a little much.
That's a lot of bragging you're doing, bud.
That's
Well,
funny.
Chad, man, we're at 3 hours. Just yapping
dude,
away, dude. Just flew.
That was fun.
Time flies.
That was
Yeah,
great.
man.
That was great. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
that
I
Afognak
was
story.
just dying to hear that mule deer hunt, man. It's like I'm not
Dude,
surprised
I
though.
wanted
I'm
the story to be so much better, and it.
Sometimes it
I,
goes like
I
that.
thought you told it well because you didn't know what you were getting into, and like
did.
you were just going for it, and like you got a taste of Western big game hunting in Arizona, and that's
Yeah.
how they do it. Okay, that's like
Yeah.
normal to those guys, and it still had to be fun. I mean, it still had to be.
Oh, dude, it was great. You win or you learn, and
just
I learned a
different.
lot.
Yeah,
I learned a
like,
lot.
I mean, it's just such a change up from like what we are like restricted to do. Like we will never call each other on the phone and be like, "Hey, that bull's 87 yards away."
Yeah.
Like, dude, you can't. I mean, there are probably some assholes out there that do it. Like, I just like never
I like
even
to go
thought
where the phone
anything of
doesn't
it.
work.
I mean, hand signals are like almost impossible.
No,
And you're like, all right, man, you do this and that and that. You see the dude waving his hand, it's like, fuck, man, I don't know what he's trying to
You don't know if
say.
he's going
Like,
this way or
They're
dude, it's
definitely
like,
difficult.
what happens is you go down and do a stalk on an animal with your homie, and it's just like you and him. And you figure it out.
Yeah.
You either blow it the fuck up, or you'll like
Well,
get in there, or, you know.
My thing, I guess what I didn't like about it the most was like that it wasn't just me. And so that it gives me, I don't like the fact that it gives me an out. Like it gives me like I can I could blame him, right? Like I can be like, and I kind of did. Like I was like, he didn't tell me that it was like bedded down uphill.
Or 800 yards away on the
And
first run with your socks.
if we don't have that communication, then it's me. It's 100%. I blew a stock, and I did blow the stock. I blew the stock, not him.
Yeah, you were doing
It's
the
2
work.
miles away.
Yep.
I don't even know what he could see through that thing. So maybe he didn't know it was bedded down uphill.
Yeah, and those angles and distances, it's like kind of impossible from the human eye to really know.
But from this trip, and I guess I hunted whitetail in Tennessee on my wife's family's property. I have a tree stand, which was cool. So that's the only other hunting I've done really outside of Alaska, other than like pheasants and stuff like that when I was a little kid. So it totally, like, I understand now why, like, the Meat Eater episode where they are hunting elk at Molina Lake and they're saying it's like the gnarliest terrain they've ever traveled in. And I'm just like, okay. It's not the gnarliest terrain I've traveled in. It's definitely difficult,
Yeah.
but it's not.
It's gnarly, but
It's not the gnarliest stuff I've been in.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I think that we Alaskans like don't have a lot, like our perspective is different. And that's why I think when people come here and you take them out, they're just like,
that's true.
They are like so blown away. Like I'm blown away by Alaska a lot. Still.
Oh, yeah. Every time you
Still.
go out, it seems like it.
Still just like, oh my God. This is
But not in
for
comparison
real?
to like these people that never seen it.
Yeah.
They're blown away.
Yeah, when we used to do the band stuff, like I remember the first time we had Brock play the Egan, and it was like the first time a local band sold out the Egan Center, and like Kerrang magazine came, they're like a metal magazine from England, and those people, the drive to Girdwood, like they were pushing each other out of the way to be on the passenger side windows, just like glued, and that stuff's cool. Like I love being on, like when you're on a like flight that doesn't have a bunch of people coming into Anchorage, and it's like you see that one dude that's like going from window to any window he can get in. He's just like taking photos, and you're just like, yeah, dude, that stoke is real, and it won't go away.
Nope,
it don't go away. Like you just the next ridge is just like a whole new world.
Oh man,
endless.
We love it, man. Thank you, Chad.
Thanks for the Afognak story and the mule deer and all that. And there's so many other topics we're going to have to bring you back on several times.
We had a whole list of questions and things we want to talk about, and like
we hit none of them.
I glanced up and I'm like, but we're talking about this still.
Yeah,
So.
no, just go. That's how it goes sometimes.
That's why it's easy to sit in the tent with this guy all day, man. It just go.
Yep.
Like,
My wife would probably disagree with that. She would be like, right now, she'd be over there whispering, like, I've heard this story so many times. Like, I'm sorry, it's so long.
Talkers like talking to talkers, right?
Yeah. That's why we're here talking to each other.
Exactly. Didn't accomplish nothing, but got 3 hours on tape.
Just yap. Yeah. Thank you if you're listening to this whole thing. It's a good long one for you guys. If you're looking to support Alaska Wild Project, patreon.com/Alaska Wild Project. Go hit up our website. Go by Barney's. We got a lot of our merch out there. Heather's Choice, if you're into that, the promo code is Alaska Wild to get 15% off. And thank you for listening. Leave us subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave us an Apple Podcast review. Share with a friend. We appreciate all your guys' info, and I'm consistently talking to everyone that's reaching out to us over the email or over Instagram. I'm currently talking to someone who's moving from Norway here, big hunter, big guy, trying to get a job, trying to get his whole family over here.
That's awesome.
That's cool to like talk to him about all that stuff. I'll be posting some pictures of his stuff. Get outside, stay wild. We appreciate you, Alaska. Keep listening. Thank you.
You'll remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Look no further than Alaska's #1 real estate team at alaskashometeam.com. Decades of local experience, knowledge, and expertise in a competitive real estate market. Alaska's Home Team makes buying or selling your home a breeze. Give them a call today at 907-277-3777.
Lady with the Plan, your own Alaska event planner. From scouting the perfect location to planning the tiniest details, specializing in event management and production for intimate social gatherings, retreats, birthdays, bridal, and baby showers. Find Lady with the Plan on Instagram.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They're the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska. Built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include snow and ice management, weekly lawn care, and more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
The East is equal in prowess and act upon the claim. I say try. If we never try, we shall never succeed. This proposition is a simple truth, and it's too important to be lost sight of for a moment. If we cannot beat the enemy where he now is, we never can. It is all easy if our troops march as well as the enemy, and it is unmanly to say they cannot do it.